Okay, hey everyone, welcome to the live. The second live, we just finished our other one on Delphi. And of course, this one's going to be with Sebastian Rogers. And we have a special guest with us tonight, and his name is Trev Time. That's a YouTube channel. That's one that we're looking at right there. And Charmaine and Aspen. And yeah, so we're going to be covering that. And I appreciate Trev. Thank you so much for joining us today. This is our first time talking or meeting, and so it's going to be great. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for having me up. I'm excited to join you guys tonight.
Yeah,
thank you for being here.
Yeah. So make sure you guys give him a lot of love in chat. His link is coming up right there. You guys can see it. Click or to subscribe to Trev Time. And you know what? So as we get started, of course, for Trev. So Trev, like I said, the first time I saw you, heard of your name, it was because people were talking about that the mother Katie Proudfoot and Christopher Proudfoot, the stepfather, were doing an interview on Dutch's channel, and you were on it as well. And then I watched a video of yours this morning, reached out to Trev by email and asked him if he wanted to join our live. He has a lot of good things, insight, and follows this case. But Trev, if you could, for anyone that doesn't know you, and like us included, really, obviously you're following the Sebastian Rogers case. And anyways, just tell us about the cases that you are following or doing, or and what your purpose of your channel is to try to, show everyone.
Absolutely. So I got involved in what we call, I guess, the true crime community through the Summer Wells case. I'm actually here local to it and got involved through that and have just kind of branched out since then. And when there's cases, especially in Tennessee, I try to provide coverage to them and, just give these kids a voice because unfortunately, regardless of what happens to them when they go missing, they lose that voice. So I think it's on all of us as creators and people who have platforms to give them that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And how long have you been doing this for, Trev?
Just a little bit over a year.
Okay. Yeah. My intent was never to be in true crime, the true crime community. It was, how life throws you those curve things along the way, and unexpectedly here I am. Trev, for me, it started pretty much, Suzanne Morphew's case, if you know of that one.
Mm-hmm.
So back in like March of 2020, and here we are sitting in 2024 now. So just before that, I had seen Delphi, and I had stayed away since I was about 26 years old, and I'm almost 55 now. I had stayed away from true crime, anything to do with, because back then the internet, right? It was like nothing. And so anyways, it was because on the right-hand side of my screen a few years ago was this Delphi case. And there was just something that gravitated me for it. So from 26 onwards, because I am a deep empath, it really hurts my heart when I keep hearing about deaths and children and stuff like that. And, it just hurts me to the core. So I actually stayed away from all that stuff. And it was just by the fact that this Delphi was on the right-hand side of my YouTube, which got me to kind of look at that case. But then Suzanne Morphew's case happened. And then I was following that right from the beginning. And then they did this search for Suzanne with the brother. And I was like, oh, hell no, this case isn't going to get, pushed down to the bottom, So I brought up the YouTube channel, which it was already up, but I never really used it. But I brought it up and I started, in a sense, advocating for, of course, justice for Suzanne. The next thing you know, we're on Delphi. And then we covered Delphi for quite a while. And then all of a sudden it was, we wanted to expand. We didn't want to just be put in a box because there's so many cases out there, of the missing and the murdered that, to try to cover other stories. And just like what you said, it's like they don't have a voice. So you're being a voice for the voiceless. You're bringing awareness. You're trying to get other people to either become creators or at least share, because it's not hard to share a missing persons poster or some, like on Twitter and stuff like that, because we know that we can vastly move things very quickly on the internet. So that's what you were just saying as well, is pretty much the exact same reason why we're here. Bring a voice to the voiceless, bring awareness to cases, and talk about them. And you know, oh, by the way, Trev, I'm not sure if you've seen that one for Iris Crumb, but she was found safe.
Yes.
Yes, thankfully. Like, I had hope for that one because it was the non-custodial mom, but so nice for anyone that I've talked to about Iris Crumb lately, on the channel. She has been found safe. The mother, the non-custodial mother is in custody. So thankfully, a good ending for that story anyway. Yeah. And give the boy the attention he deserves. Absolutely. Okay. So, where do we want to start off with Sebastian? Let me actually take this down and bring up that beautiful boy's face on here. Okay.
Can I ask a question real quick?
Yeah.
To Trev. I'm wondering if you have any opinions because you were present at Dutch's interview with the parents. What was your main takeaway from their answers, I guess, and their not behavior, but their behavior? Where's your mind at when it comes to them?
Yeah, so that was the first time we had heard at all. I think the public had heard from them. So I kind of just was, while I was up there on the panel, I was more just kind of taking in their answers and kind of just letting them say what they wanted to say, because that first interview, a lot in these cases, is where you hear kind of that real direction of how people feel. And it was interesting to me, the almost like detached way that the stepfather spoke. It seemed like he was narrating. That was odd to me. He spoke as if he was kind of narrating the case. And while none of that points to any sort of, I'm not saying that points to any nefarious activity, it is an odd way to conduct an interview when you're speaking of your wife and stepchild.
I'll give it to you there. Definitely. It was like having someone speaking for the family, the way he spoke,
Yeah, I thought it was like almost like a fly on the wall. Like, it was odd to me because he spoke very much about the he spoke as them together when he talked about him being a strict parent, and talked about his role as the stepfather. But then when he spoke about the incident, he very much like detached himself. It was the mother called, the boy was missing. I spoke to the mother. It was just odd to me.
Yeah, and I think a lot of us took that because that's exactly what was talked about, amongst us as well. And I'm sure a lot of other people, that vibe. And again, and this isn't trying to, we're just here to point out things. So this isn't about shade on Katie or Chris, or Seth Rogers in a sense, but we're definitely want to talk about things that are odd and stuff like that. I do have a question about this because this does seem odd to me, and maybe you can answer it for me, Trev, and maybe you can't. But Charmaine, did he answer what you wanted, or did he answer your question?
Yeah, he absolutely did. I just wanted to, his first impression kind of was. Perfect. I think a lot of us thought that the stepdad was people use the word controlling, but I thought more of like a leader, like a take charge type person, like Sonny said. Maybe a family spokesperson, but not somebody emotionally invested. It was a little odd to me. So I was curious. So thank you.
Yeah. And so my question to you, Trev, if you know the answer, is I can't get over the fact, and this is no shade on Duchess's channel, but why did the family, instead of going to the media, why did they pick a YouTube channel? It's not even like it's, someone that has 200K subscribers. Like, do you know why that they chose Duchess to go on the channel instead of, say, going to the media? Like I said, no shade to Duchess. I'm just curious if you know the answer. Like, why would they go to a YouTube channel first?
Yeah, no, I've wondered since the beginning why they went so long without going to the media to begin with, to the local media, because the thing is, so it's, while they live on the outside of Nashville media is huge. Nashville's, it's capital Tennessee. It's an enormous, their media following is huge. I mean, one of their news channels has like 1 million followers. Nick Barris on his own has like 250,000. You can get a lot of eyes on something very quickly. So I was very confused. The reason they went on Duchess, I do know, is there's a friend of Duchess's is, I think, cousins with Katie, the mother of Sebastian. So that's how they got connected.
Okay.
But I've still never understood why they didn't go straight to the news media.
And no, exactly, because things always look odd to me. Because are you a parent, Trev, at all?
No.
Okay, so Aspen's not. Charmaine is, and I am. And as a parent, you would not keep me down from being in front of that media, and it took them a week. So I'm gonna say, like, they've definitely shown some oddities in how they went from a YouTube channel, Duchess. So I can understand that. And I figured that possibly was the reason was maybe like a family friend or, someone that knew, but I just only assumed it. So thank you for clarifying that. And then they went to the interview on WSTR or whatever it was. And they did that now. And then they went to the hands thing on Caitlin Miller.
The hand interview.
The hand interview. Right. And it was strange because, like, my thing is this, and I said this on a few lives. This is your child. Like this, like, I know that it's a stepfather, it doesn't matter, but this is like your child. Get your ass on camera because people want to, like, I know no matter what someone does, we all know this, Trev, you could do everything right and you still get attacked regardless. I have that type of I don't care personality. I am there would be there for my son only. People want to attack, whatever to them. But, I'm going to go out there because I don't care about what anybody else has to say. I want my child back, So
I agree. I mean, it's like, it's hard for me to imagine that. And I'm not saying it's easy to be attacked at all. Nobody likes to be attacked. We're human. But at the same time, how people can put like some random person from Montana's opinion over the well-being of their child. Like, forget what random people who you've never met have to say and get your child home. That's what matters. Because if you're truly innocent, then what they're saying is never going to hold any weight. The court of public opinion has never sent somebody to prison. You know what I mean?
Right.
If they have something to say on Facebook, that doesn't hold weight. Get your kid home, and if you're innocent, nothing will come from it. These people will stop talking, go away. But most importantly, your child will be back.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me just go here. Okay, so I have a few things open here. One of them, should I go here first? Okay, yeah, and I'm sure that you have watched the video of the inside of this house yourself, I'm assuming. Yeah. So kind of like when I was listening to you, there was okay. You know what? Let's kind of go to what we know somewhat from
the facts that we know.
Yeah, the facts that we know from these 3 interviews. And I want to say that the third interview was the least amount of information, meaning the one where they were holding their hands. Didn't you notice that? Didn't you know how they just glided over any of the content in the sense that they had said on Duchess or on the interview? In this third interview, it was the least informative to me. Did you notice that yourself, Trev?
Oh, absolutely. I think they've kind of directed, like they've changed as they've gone on in their interviews, and it went from like at the beginning they were like, here's everything, and then they realized, well, we don't want to have to, the more you put out there, the more you have to defend or argue, whether it's right or not. That's the way things work. You give me 10 things, then you're going to have to defend 10 things. You only give me 2, well, there's only 2. And the only thing that I noticed in that last interview was they changed the clothing description.
Right. And we're going to talk about that.
Absolutely.
Because that bugged me as well. And I'll give you my thoughts on that as we go through it. So, you know what, Trev, because you're our guest here, like I said, we're pretty familiar with this case going on and with what's been said and what's not been said. But, give us your gist of the timeline, starting from, let's just say, Saturday Costco, and then work our way, to Sunday BJ's, the telephone call. Do you have kind of like that timeline in your head of the information?
Yeah, so to my knowledge, they were at Costco on Saturday. Initially, some people thought it was Sunday, but there was a picture. For those who have seen the picture of Sebastian in the optimism shirt, that picture was taken at Costco. So they went, I think it was like 2 p.m. that afternoon. And then they had been apparently at BJ's on Sunday and out with some family members as well from, I believe, the stepfather's family. And they came home sometime that afternoon, evening time on Sunday. And then into the evening around 9:30ish, the mother and stepfather were speaking on the phone. Stepfather says he was in Memphis working. He's a crane operator out of the Memphis area. I believe right now they're working on the St. Jude project. And so he was on the phone with her. Around midnight, he tells her to get up off the couch and go to bed, put the dogs up. And that's when she goes to bed. 6 o'clock, she goes to wake Sebastian up for school. He's missing. She calls her husband. They do a three-way call with the police. And police respond, and that's when the public is alerted of his disappearance.
Okay. So, like you said, BJ, so this is where my brain kind of goes here. So we heard Chris, because Chris, for the most part, Christopher, he basically controlled that conversation on Duchess. Katie was very, you could tell to me, very upset, very, she was talking in a very somber type voice. And he came across like he took control of that whole conversation. And, it was fair enough. I mean, I was like, dude, just keep speaking for all, keep talking. But so, so on Sunday it was BJ's. And now so it's been said that, we had dinner. So I keep wondering, because Costco, you can sit down and eat. Does she mean that they not only sampled, but they actually ate at BJ's? Or did they actually go somewhere else and to eat for dinner and then home? Do you know?
I think the idea is that they went somewhere else. According to the people, at least that are in town there, I know some people that are local there, their BJ's doesn't have like an area to eat like their Costco does.
Okay, gotcha. Perfect. And then, so it was at 9 o'clock that so you also talked about this. So maybe we'll do this part next. So you said in your live that you'd done about, a camera, that somebody's camera that's right can see their home, saw them arrive, saw Katie and Sebastian arrive at home. So like that was on camera footage.
Yeah, so it is. I have a source. I will say this hasn't come from law enforcement. I have a source close that's in the area and is close to the investigation that told me there is a camera that can face the front of the home. It's at a home very nearby on the other side of the street, and according to this source, the camera can see the front door and sort of see like where the garage is because it comes out on the side, and it shows the family. It shows Katie, the mom, and Sebastian coming home. I think Sunday evening, Sunday afternoon, whenever they got back from eating. And they come home, and it doesn't show Sebastian leave again, like as far as walking off or anything, because that was the initial thought, of course, but there was no sighting of him on camera or anything like that.
And just since I'm here on oh my God, I'm playing too hard. You see this?
Like if you with what you just said, that would go in part with why I would think law enforcement would have reason to switch this to a criminal investigation.
Absolutely.
And I'm not putting any blame on anyone. I'm just saying if they have camera footage of that boy going home and no camera footage of him leaving, that alone would make sense to me as to why they might open a criminal investigation into this.
Right, and that's what made me believe my source even more, because it went right along with how law enforcement treated it. They treated it as he wandered off until they couldn't find any sight of him. And if that camera had showed him wandering off, they'd probably still be out there in the woods looking for him, because it would mean that he likely did, unless someone grabbed him, he walked off on his own volition. But if there is no video of him walking off, I mean, you don't just vanish. Something has to happen to you.
Did your source or whatever say anything about the houses directly behind this one? Because I was surprised to see that there's like homes. I don't know what it's like anywhere else in the States, but here we usually have like houses and then like a back alley or a street or something. We don't back onto other people's properties usually. And this, from what I can remember, right behind Sebastian's house on the other side of the fence, there's another house. So if he would have left out the back way, do you know if there's cameras facing that way or from those other houses behind there?
So I'm not sure. They said something about the back door, not about there not being access to the back door, a piece of furniture blocking this. Again, this is all just sourced information, but apparently there's something blocking the access to the back door. So I don't know. I'm not sure if he'd have been able to use that back door.
Yeah, because I was going to say, because I mean, obviously the thing that they're showing here, and hold on, I'm trying to get right back where I was here. And I'm on Kelly Lane. This is the back of the house right here. Why does it keep moving on me? Come on. Right, so right
From
here.
that bird's eye view that you did that one day, we were able to see the houses that are in behind there. And also on the other side of the house, it's more treed. So I wondered if he maybe left out a window, but I can't wrap my head around why. If the day was such a great day, why did he try to leave in the middle of the night? I don't
Yeah,
know.
leaving in the middle of the night seems odd because they said he's not a kid that ever would wander, because that's something that's very common in children on the spectrum is they elope. Like there's a clinical term, but he's never been somebody who leaves, so it's odd that he would do that. And then his dad, when he talked tonight, of course, said that he never goes anywhere barefoot. Like he had a bad experience with fire ants, and he always wears socks and shoes. So the idea that he left without shoes is odd to me as well.
Yeah. So what we're seeing here, Charmaine, we're seeing the back of their house, which is the white door that we see in the video. Okay. So this is right behind his house now, that view you're looking at. Again, and we've gone through the tour video, looked at the different things. Okay. So 9 o'clock, the mom sends them. Okay. Yeah, we got to go through this because this is all baffling. Yeah. So 9 o'clock. The mom says to go to bed. I love you, Mom. I love you, puppies. At 9:43 or 6, Chris Proudfoot says that's when he called Katie, and that lasted till 12 o'clock midnight. So again, that was something that he inserted because she didn't say anything really. So then he goes, well, I want to be transparent. And then he told us about the phone call. That was for 2 hours and 15 minutes, basically. And that, of course, like you said, 6 o'clock in the morning, she goes to go wake up Sebastian, and that he's nowhere to be found. So then we learn that, according to Katie, that the shoes, none of them seem to be missing, that they're talking about the shirts. Let's get to these shirts too here, because this is what's kind of bugging me. On day 11, okay, as a mother, as a parent, I know what shirts my kid has. Just like I know this family, the mom for sure. So they couldn't decide if it was a Star Wars shirt, a Halloween shirt, or a Minecraft shirt. And I'm like, well, wouldn't the other two be in his closet? If you should be able to determine by day 11 that, because we've seen on Sebastian, we've seen the StarCraft or whatever it was, Star Wars or whatever it was shirt, Minecraft. And like we know, and like you said, it went from being basically all black to black now with white stripes like Adidas running down the side. And it turned into, I think, from a sweatshirt to a long t-shirt with the long sleeves. Either right. So didn't that strike you a little bit as odd that they couldn't determine? Like, I know some people might feel differently, but that they couldn't determine what shirt it was that he had on. And I'm thinking, well, first of all, if you went upstairs, like you said, at 9, okay, if you're truly going to bed, you're gonna put on your pajamas. So there's part of us that's wondering, well, if he did sneak out, could it have been during that time she was on the phone with the stepdad, and that he went out the front door, and then she did her nightly lockup of everything and then locked the door, because that's weird in itself when they keep saying about the front door being locked. No kid, no child that's sneaking out of the house is going to freaking pull out their key and go, let me just make sure that's secure, because it's a deadbolt. It's not just a lock, it's a deadbolt. And then the flashlight. She said about the flashlight because that she couldn't find it anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, I would deem that flashlight as uber important as to tell me more so that if the flashlight's truly missing, no freaking pedo is going to come in the house unless, go here, let me just take the flashlight as, my guide, type of thing. Like, that seems like, if it is true, that would lead me to believe that he actually did leave himself. Right. If the flashlight truly is missing, because in no other way can I think about it in my head that would make sense, that the parents are going to be like, well, let's just hide the flashlight, so make it look like. That doesn't seem realistic to me. But let me stop there and say, if there's anything that I've said in there that you want to, talk about.
I will say quickly, that could, I mean, this kid, he did have a multi, he did have two homes. Like, he lived with his mom and stepdad, and he also spent time with his birth father.
Seth Rogers.
But still, they sound like they have a cordial relationship. So, coordinating, if there were clothing missing from either household, you would think that would be easily ascertainable to the parents. So, I mean, if she thought, oh, maybe he's wearing a Halloween shirt, maybe he's wearing a Minecraft shirt, maybe he's wearing a Star Wars shirt, she could verify that with the birth father. Be like, hey, is that shirt at your house? It's not at our house. So, to go along with your point, Sonny, it's odd that that there's no clarification as far as to what he really was wearing.
Which I know that Trev, you can talk about that. Trev said, like, this is important when somebody is missing. You want to make sure that you have. Absolutely. Like, why did it take so long, do you think, right, Trev, that they changed it?
And if there aren't shoes missing from the mom's house, are there shoes missing from the dad's house?
Thoughts? Go ahead, Trev.
Yeah, it's what gets me is, I mean, so the first while they were under, like I said, under the assumption he wandered off, and that's what they're looking for him as if he had just, walked off from the property. Unfortunately, now it's an investigation. I mean, they were looking in a landfill. The sad reality is there's not a great chance that he's still alive. I'm not saying it's 100% right. Either way, but that's the unfortunate truth when you look at, day 15 of the search. So what I go back to is, why wasn't that, if let's say the shirt that she gave a description of the other day is correct, why wasn't that 100% solidified when he was first missing? Because people were looking for camera footage of him. You're looking for him anywhere when you're out and about, and you're just looking for him while they're searching. You think you would really want to know the clothing detail when you're looking for him as when he wandered off. That's when you're going to need to know the most, is so you can spot him as early as you can on day 1, on day 2, on day 3, to make sure that he comes home safe, because it went from a sweatshirt then to a shirt that right. had stuff on it. It wasn't just a blank shirt to a shirt with details. It was a sweatshirt, then switched to a long sleeve shirt that had something on it.
Do you have any insight, again, from the interview? What was I going to say? I'm terrible.
No, I know we already had a long live and you've been working all day.
Man, it was important too.
What were we just talking about? The sweatshirt, the t-shirt, is it gone? I'm trying to bring it back for you.
It'll come. Okay. Just move on and I'll interrupt.
Okay. And I'm just going to play this as we're talking as well. Let me just turn off, make sure that the video song, though, is not playing. Yeah, it's okay. So I'm just going to let this play out, too, as we're talking here. Okay. Trev. in your gut instinct or heart of hearts, what are you feeling? Because this is so perplexing to me. It's like a puzzle that you just can't understand. Oh, let me make that bigger, by the way. It's like a puzzle that you just can't kind of understand. Oh, wait, why is it? It's not letting. Okay, there we go. Oh, no, it's not letting me do it. But anyways, in your heart of hearts, what do you think? What do you think? Like, just what do you think? I don't know. Like, do you think that he walked off himself? Do you think that you think that there's third party involvement here? Foul play, pedo down the road, abducted him somehow? I don't know. What do you think?
At the very beginning when I'm missing, I was 100% convinced that just as they were, that he walked off and he'd be found. Again, it's a commonality. Plenty of children who are on the spectrum, it's eloping. They walk off. And so I figured he had just done that and, they would find him. But then when there was just no camera sightings, no scent trail. I know they talked about having some hits, but no real scent trail to their knowledge to point to what direction he went in. It just told me, that doesn't sound like he walked off. So to me now at this point, it's an investigation and they really have no actual had any sightings of him. I do feel like there's a third party involved.
I agree. Because like you said, if it's true that they have camera footage of this boy arriving back at the home, there's no reason, whether he left on his own volition or he left via third party, that they don't have camera footage of him leaving the home.
Mm-hmm. And I've remembered my question.
Yep. What is it, you mean?
And maybe you guys already talked about it while I was eating my supper, but I want to know, because in that interview, pretty sure this interview, stepdad made some kind of comment that they couldn't discuss why they were looking for a certain video on this Sunday. Do you have any idea what that was about?
So initially they were asking for video footage just from following his disappearance. So early hours of Monday and on. And then after a while, they started asking for video footage starting Sunday afternoon. So some people brought that up to him and he initially said that's something they couldn't talk about. But I think in a later interview he did on the news, he said it's something he can talk about. And then he said it's something they're not privy to. So I don't know if it's something that they're not completely in the know about or if it's something that they're not allowed to make the public in the know about.
So that's interesting. And then after that point, that's when people started kind of digging into stepdad and you'll probably get into it, but bringing up kind of his, not history, but what he's going through right now
with his, he brought that up on his live, Trev, about the emergency motion. I think that you're talking about there, Charmaine.
Well, and the the mom and the stepdad have been they've been wish-washy on some of the stuff that they've said on social media, which has been very little, and in the news. But they've definitely been adamant about the fact that they've been cleared of any wrongdoing.
But we know that they haven't been.
Well, I'm just saying. Yeah. I'm just going off of their statements.
Yeah, because that's what they said. That they've been vetted and cleared, but they haven't. Like Nick Perez said, or whatever. Nobody's cleared. As of this moment, they've been fully cooperative. They've been saying, to this point, right? To this point, who knows if the investigation will change at some point or whatever. But yeah. So I don't know. I feel like the flashlight is huge to me. Trev, the camera. Let me stop this again. Let me go back over to Google Maps here. I usually use Google Earth, but Google Maps can let you kind of get in closer than Google Earth does for certain things. So for the Google Maps, this camera, you said, from whatever, across the street, they can see what parts of this home could they see? Did you say?
So by what I'm told, they can see the front, and then they are able to see the garage. So they saw or at least the driveway. So they saw them come home into the driveway, and then they can see the front door.
And I don't, like I said, I'm from Canada, and Adam thinks that this is like a cellar door. What kind of door
No,
do
I
you
said
think?
that to me that looks like a door that's accessible to the crawl space.
The crawl space, that's what it was.
It's like a half door.
Yeah, to get like under the house and such.
Yeah,
So it's not a door
because it's
that
a raised
goes
foundation,
into the
so
house.
like that's their access to the crawl space.
So again, this door isn't accessible from the inside of the house, only from the outside.
No, typically they are not. Typically they're not accessible from the inside. It would just lead to the underneath of the house.
It would
Okay.
just open into like the area under where like pipes and stuff
Yeah.
run to. Like you would go under there like to do work on the house or something.
Okay.
Exactly.
So
Yeah, or HVAC.
so according then, like you said, that the house could be seen from the like basically the front door here and this garage side, and that the mom and Sebastian were seen arriving home. Did they say what time it was when they arrived home by chance?
Oh, I've heard it's sometime like afternoon into the evening. I don't know exactly what time on Sunday.
Okay. And then after that, that same camera couldn't pick up anything because white would shine typically. Like if he has white stripes, that's a huge difference between an all black pair of pants than black and that has white stripes. Because we all know the white stripes, aren't they kind of more like reflectors, really? That they just kind of like stand out.
Yeah, I feel like if this, source is true, then I would believe that it would probably get, if the camera is facing there and running continuously, I feel like it would catch them. Of course, if that somehow wasn't the case or only it only caught at certain times, then could be looking at something different. But I feel like it would have caught somebody moving if it was truly facing that direction.
Right. It's a very perplexing case, isn't it? Like, the at first when this case came out, and I think Adam shared it with me, is why I knew of it. I think, right, Adam? Adam?
I heard about it. I heard about it the day after it happened.
Okay. But are you the one that sent it to me originally?
Either Charmaine or I did. I can't remember.
And so at first, I think we, like our consensus kind of here, meaning amongst us, was, he's hiding. He'll be back in a couple of days. They'll find him. Now,
we covered a case last year of a similar situation of a boy that was on the spectrum that had run away, Scotty Morris, and the parallels seemed very familiar to me between the two, and after probably the first 5 or 6 days, I really started to question what happened in this case, and those questions have only grown since. Now that we're at 2 weeks, almost.
And the search was definitely, very exhaustive. You can have that be a problem too if, like, say the response is, half done or something. But the EMA director, they put everything into this. They were going into, I think they even went to like storm drains with cameras. They were doing everything, going through all bodies of water that they could, searching land. They had airplane up, helicopters, drones, mounted units, ATVs, everything you could think of.
Even in that first week, there were more than one evenings that were extremely stormy conditions. There have now been, since he's gone missing, there have been near freezing weather in the area. So that all added to my suspicions as far as like something's afoot with this kid's disappearance.
Yeah,
it's so strange. This one's keeping me up in my dreams and stuff. Like it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good for Elijah Vu. It doesn't look good for Sebastian Rogers. It's definitely not been good for Madeline Soda and Audrey Cunningham. Sadly, those two lost their lives to pedos, basically, of course. I was holding out hope for Sebastian that, that it was just going to be a couple of days. Now, I mean, okay, let me put it this way. If I say I'm holding out hope, yeah, like you're throwing up to the gods and getting a miracle prayer that Sebastian Rogers is still alive. It doesn't look good whatsoever. And I hate saying that because it's so sad when you look at this child and you cannot figure out why the life. So if he did take off, why? Like, why? Was he like, so I was trying to think that, like, did he go try to dig himself a Minecraft or something like that? Like, the dad speaks that he's, go ahead. Sorry, did you say that?
Oh, no, please finish.
Oh, no, I'm just trying to like think of the reasons. Like, did he feel controlled in the house? Did he wake up from a bad dream and go, freaking sleepwalk out of there? I don't know. I guess not. But it's like, what can you possibly come up with? Like, again, to me, the flashlight would be huge just because it's like that. If that's not there, then that is more likely to seem like he got out somehow, managed to avoid every camera, suddenly tripped and fell and knocked his head out and, type of thing. Like, you would have to have everything go in your direction. And what the dad, I believe, was it the dad that said, meaning Christopher, stepdad, I should say, who was it that said that? Yeah, I think it was Christopher, that said, like, they've been very, like the neighborhood has been very giving with their videos and, the monitoring of their videos, and stuff like that. And yet, for in a heartbeat, if there was anything to show us to the public as a direction that he left the house, that there was a vehicle that was in the area,
they release that?
They would have, absolutely, because that,
Right.
I mean, exactly, they would have. But there seems like there's shit to go on.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because there's just a suspect vehicle, they'll give it to us because they want to track this person down. We want to talk to the driver of a blank color X, Y, and Z car, whatever. And here's even a picture of it. But even if not, they'll say, we want to talk to a driver of this kind of car.
Right. And even if they saw him, even if there was evidence that he left on foot, they would say left in the northeast direction or the north, whatever. But there's been no mention of this boy ever leaving this home. And like Lone Pony says, because this was one of the first things I picked up on at all with this case was when the step parents finally came out and spoke, or the stepdad and the mom came out and they said that more than anything, all he wanted was a friend. To me, that raised the red flag. I'm like, okay, here's a kid that's susceptible to a third party manipulation, an adult grooming, or somehow causing this, but we've seen no evidence of that. And we also know that they had those two small dogs. I think it's two small dogs.
Yeah, little yappy things. Yeah, right.
So, and there's been no indication that those dogs alerted on anything about this when this boy apparently would have left the home.
Yeah. And see, my mind went the same way. I was wondering at the beginning, I was like, so say he didn't wander off. Then my mind went to, did he meet someone like, say, on the internet? Same way, he wants friends. He can be very susceptible to someone completely tricking him into like walking outside even. But the thing is the stepdad, at least as far as in that household, he partially sunk that himself when he talked about how strict he is because he allows zero internet access for Sebastian at all. He says he has a phone that has a contact page, a calculator, and a camera, and that's it. He doesn't allow him to do anything else on the internet. He plays on the Switch, and there's no internet capability. So I'm just wondering, how would he be able to communicate with someone at that house, at least on the internet, if he's got zero access to it?
And that kind of, because I don't know where on the spectrum he is, but being a 15-year-old boy, having that strict of a household, maybe he was kind of looking for a little bit of freedom to go out and do something on his own, and somebody just by happenstance came across him when he was outside. This still doesn't explain why he wasn't caught on camera, why there was no scent picked up. So frustratingly suspicious, all of it.
Yeah, and if things were truly like as, good as she said, that weekend, she said they had a great weekend, there wasn't in trouble, anything like that. It just makes me wonder what would have pushed him to go if they truly had that good of a weekend, a great Saturday, a great Sunday. He was supposed to go to his dad's, but his dad had to work, so he stayed with them. So he'd been with them for like 2 weeks, and there was just no issue. I just wonder what could have, in the middle of the night, pushed him to do something like that.
Well, precisely. And, and presumably, of course, they will have extensively looked into the stepdad's movements. I've not heard what time he actually left the house, but I assume, especially if there is a home across the street that has camera footage, I would assume they know what time he left the home to go to Memphis on that Sunday. I assume it's that he left that Sunday morning or afternoon. Mm-hmm. And I would think that some of the search efforts have extended all the way to where the stepdad's location was. So I don't think that the stepdad, I don't think that something happened and the stepdad took him somewhere. That's not been something that I've thought was a possibility in this case.
Right, and that's where a lot of people, I feel like, went at first. Once it became an investigation, they immediately start looking at him. But then at the same time, he's got something.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to say he's got an alibi that's, if you want to call it that, it's something that's easily provable. If he says I was in Memphis, and they find out he wasn't, they're going to immediately be raising the red flags. Like, okay, you need to tell us what you're actually doing. So I believe him when he says he's in Memphis because that's so easily disprovable.
Right, and I also believe, the timeline of, I assume they're able to confirm when he left the home, when he got to Memphis, and where he went in between. So to me, like the stepdad's movements on that Sunday are probably the first avenue that they went down.
Yep.
Oh, for sure.
And to me, I think that, they're the most easily disproved as well. I said all along that, if I think there was any family involvement in this, which I'm not going to accuse anyone of, it would not be the stepdad that I think is responsible for something happening. Only because I think his movements are the most trackable.
Yep. Because the mother's not.
Ponies. Sorry.
Well, sorry, Charmaine, what?
That's just something that I've never thought of. What Lone Pony said there at 7:57. If he had internet access at his dad's house, maybe he had something prearranged for when's the last time he was at his dad's house.
And absolutely, Charmaine, and that's 100%. He could, the whole third party thing could have, he had a very strict environment when he was with his stepdad and his birth mother, but was that environment as strict when he was with his birth father? I don't think so. But either way, someone would have had to have communicated with him, to which there would also be a digital record of them. They would have had to have planned a meeting with him. They would have then had to show up outside of the home or somewhere to meet him. So either way, there would be a digital footprint, and there would be camera footage
of a vehicle
of either him leaving to meet this person or a vehicle showing up to pick him up. So even if he had, because that's absolutely possible that he made some connection when he had lesser restrictions when he was at his dad's house. But the bottom line is he disappeared from his mom's house and his stepdad's house.
Yeah.
So there's got to be camera footage or digital footprint of how he ended up leaving that house.
Yeah. And just for anyone,
sorry.
No, it's okay. Because just for anyone that's following the story, and this is what I like too, what Trev said on his, there's common sense things, there's facts things, and then there's things that we don't know. We don't know if he truly went up to bed at 9:00. The mom says that, But for instance, anything with digital data, if on camera he is seen with the mom arriving home with Katie, and the dad's over in Memphis, there's no way he's going, hey, you know what, come along with me. I'm not really in Memphis right now. Let me just take Sebastian up to Memphis and bury his body and stuff like that. Because this has already been kind of like said, right, that there is camera footage from a neighbor's house that sees the mom and sees Sebastian arrive home. But at no point on this camera footage do they see Sebastian leaving the house. But digital GPS, all that stuff, cell phone, and all that stuff, like I said, like they've done their stuff with that stuff, what they can do. But then there's things that you can only rely on what the mother perhaps is saying about the timeline. Did she go to bed at 12? We don't know for sure. We can just go based on the fact that she's saying that she went to bed at 12, let the dogs out. Do we know what the conversation was about? Maybe the police do, but
right. And how extensive was that conversation?
Like 2 hours and 15 minutes.
I'm not married, but who here who's married literally has their partner leave, and then a few hours later they feel the need to talk to them on the phone for 2.5 hours?
Well, conspiracy theory.
No, hold on.
Oh, here we go. Okay, what?
Absolutely not. It depends on how controlling that partner is. Right?
No, true that.
Don't even.
I believe batteries dying.
No, it doesn't work like that. Not when you're in it. Nope.
But this is the bottom line. There's no footage. They would have released it to us. They would have released us a footage of a vehicle that was in the area that was acting suspicious, but they haven't. So that means that there isn't probably like
Mr. Electric has it right. I mean, this is the love story of the year right here. Everyone that's married can say the same thing, right?
No,
but at least you're married, Mr. E. Come on now.
But like I said, this is why it's so perplexing. So that's why my thoughts keep going back to like this kid left himself and he just wasn't seen. But then you would have to go along with the fact that he's, somehow injured himself on top of all that. And this, Trev, this, by the way, this is, I'm sure you probably looked at it yourself. This is like the area for the pedo map here, the sex offenders in the area, Shackle Island. Obviously, Stafford is just right over here. So there's, 35-minute walk, but a 5-minute drive for a couple of them here. There's basically about 42 cases that are coming up of registered S offenders in the area. Again, but we have there would be camera footage of something of him leaving the house. So, okay, that's another question about the front door. Why do they keep saying that he went out the front door? And first of all, is his bedroom, because the second floor is a loft. The main floor, got a bunch of different doors and seems to be like the main level. From looking at that video tour, when I watch it go up the stairs to the loft, the kitchen is like right there. So it must only be like a 2-level weird lofty thing going on home. And it seems to be like the main floor seems to house the bedrooms, is from my take from when I'm watching that. Because I went over it a few times because I was trying to understand if there was a second floor and then a third floor. But really it goes from the one floor right to the loft area. But they keep saying the front door. Why would they keep saying that? And then the front door is locked. How would they know? Like if she's on the couch talking to the husband and she's pretty much falling asleep at some point, how would they know, Trev, that they keep saying the front door and then the front door was locked? I mean, if you have the neighbor across the street saying, look, we never saw nothing from our cameras and we could see them arrive, but we don't see anyone leaving. Why do they keep saying the front door? Why not the side door, back door, garage door?
Yeah, that's another thing. It's just another thing that just is so odd in this case. And I feel like it's everywhere you look, like you'll point in one direction, something that would kind of make sense. And there's something to kind of say, well, I don't know. Like you think about wandering off. Well, he's not spotted anywhere. There's not a real scent trail. Okay, so then you're kind of looking towards somebody luring him online. Well, then he has no internet access, and his dad works in law enforcement. I'm sure he gave over all of any kind of devices he has at his house. I'm sure he turned them over immediately. So it kind of pulls away from that. Well, then you think about his parents doing something. Well, stepdad's likely out of town. It's just mom there. So, I mean, are you just saying it's, just her? So then kind of, you turn your head from that. I mean, there's just nothing is like a clear, like, it's got to be this theory. It's like there's everywhere you look, it points you in another direction.
When you listen to the mother, well, let's just talk about them all. When you listen to the mother, authentic, genuine, grieving, sadness, when you listen to the mother speak?
I think so.
Okay.
I wouldn't say there's a 0% chance that something that she's not grieving something that happened. That's not completely the truth, because it's still her son, regardless. Even if something did happen, I think she'd be, very upset with it. Nothing could happen that she'd be, just okay with it. That's her, her child. But I see her as genuine until, unless they have something that comes out that points directly in her direction. I see her as being genuine.
And same with Seth, the biological father. Do you take him as being genuine when you're listening to him speak?
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, same. And so then that leaves, of course, Christopher, who sounds like he's a representative from the family. But to me, he's just telling it like it is. And he was actually giving information about that they were on a phone call, because, they kind of understand too that, like, here, let's just be transparent. And he adds it in there, whereas the mom just kind of skimmed over everything. He seemed to be more wanting to give more of an insight to some of the timeline. The mom then ended up talking about the flashlight and, why she felt that he took a flashlight, because it was a toy, a device that he liked to play with. She said she couldn't find it in the house, so which led her to believe about the thing. I'm still confused about the shirt, because I would think I would know by now which shirt it was, because you could easily eliminate the other ones, I would think. I can understand maybe between 2 shirts, but 3 shirts, I think you guys can, I feel like they could narrow it down to what actually shirt he was wearing. If not 1 to 2 of them, but not 3, because the other ones would be in the house or at the real dad's house. So that one throws me off a bit, but yet I'm feeling like there's the genuineness coming from the family, that there's no involvement on their part. I'm not feeling that. So my only other conclusion, because we haven't seen no video footage of some pedo in the area, and again, there's no, if he doesn't have access to his Minecraft and gaming with online people, and he doesn't have access to the internet, and even the real dad doesn't have social media, he said, which is wrong. He has LinkedIn. Does have LinkedIn. But anyways, so like I said, it just is like I'm at a loss. So the only thing I can keep going back to is that the flashlight's missing, and that to me would be the one thing that probably told me that it was him that left. And yet there's no evidence on anything to say that he left. I'm going to go to Google Earth while we're there too. So that's why, like, it's just driving, I'm sure it's driving you too, like bonkers, just trying to be like, what happened to you? Like, where did he go? Like, did he leave on his own accord? And they just missed him. I know of multiple cases, and I'm sure you do too, Trev, where they've done searches, they've done everything, and all of a sudden some random person finds, some body in the woods at some point and stuff like EquiSearch is involved, by the way, guys. Which reminds me, okay. So, if we look here, of course, at Google Earth, like there's the home, it's a couple minutes, and, this is Kelly Lane here. And then there's a bunch of trees and a big forest south, from the south side here, and then there's some whatever. And so you're just trying to look at this going, okay, even if he left the house, like, do none of these people have cameras? Is he like freaking a ninja, in black going through the trees and not being seen and just happened to miss every point of capture on a camera that's possible. I don't get it. I don't get it. No footage, no nothing. Don't all talk at once now. Stop. I don't know.
Sorry, I thought you were asking Trev a question.
I'm just rambling off my head because it's driving me crazy every day that I'm sitting here thinking about, like,
in my opinion, if you look at all the facts, what we know, in public, what we know, the chances of him actually leaving that house, slim to none. So, and I know you don't agree with that, Sonny, but you have to.
It's not that I don't agree. It's just a matter of like what my conclusion seems to be at this point with what we're given. It's, it will turn out how it turns out. But for me, I can only go to the most logical thing is that he did leave and that they've missed him somewhere, or that he was a few miles out of the whole area that they were searching. Because if I believe the mom's genuine, and I believe that they're being honest, because digital data would show something, some camera footage, some deception, all that. There's no charges being filed against the parents, and yet that they've been doing everything to corroborate anything. The dogs can't pick up a track. There's, they're sniffing, there's no track to be found. And it's just all absurd. So I have to stick with if there's no video footage, there's no perv in the area, he has no way of communicating with people, that we know of. I'm just talking about the information that we know of. Then what could possibly have happened? Did his mom throw him in a wall and hide him and, put paint over him or something? You know what I mean? No. So why would, and I don't know nothing about, autism besides what I've read. So why would this child leave his home if indeed it was between 12 and 6? And he's scared of the dark. He doesn't like bugs. He doesn't like being dirty. I feel like the stepfather, Chris, made it seem like Seth Rogers and him were a little bit closer than what it seemed. That they said the opposite things there, didn't they? Pretty much, somewhat, Trev.
Yeah, he made it seem like they talked all the time.
Yeah,
and they had this great relationship. And then when the first time Seth spoke, he really didn't want to speak on that at all. I mean, he said that later on he said that they talked. I think it was like once a day or something. He said that they have spoken, but he says that he didn't really have any comment on that.
I know he almost, like, the real father almost came off, well, he was very abrupt in his, like, get your asses off of the freaking blaming shit, keyboard warriors, shut the heck up and get your asses out there and put your money where your mouth is, type of thing. Like, go look for this child then if you're so willing to talk crap about it and stuff like that. I like that matter of factness that he kind of had there. Mm-hmm. But he didn't make any qualms about the fact that, well, first of all, can I just say this too, that the interviewer, I wanted to smack her a few times through the computer, because don't you hate it when they ask the most stupidest questions that I don't even think us as viewers need to know? Because if you have a child, Trev, and I ask you that stupid question of, so what would it mean to you if your child walked through that door right now? What would that mean?
Exactly.
So instead of asking things that are pertinent to the case, right? So those are about feelings, and like those are the stupid questions to ask a parent. So, so what does your son mean to you? What the fuck do you mean? What the fuck do you mean? What does my son mean to me? He's a piece of shit, You know what I mean? Like, of course your children mean everything to you. Why don't you ask things like, what time did you, what place did you go to for dinner? What time did you go home?
Was the door still locked in the morning?
did you just think he was there and did you lock the door at night? Was there any pajamas on the floor to show that he actually went to bed? Or, was there nothing to show, like, was his bed made normally? Does he sleep in his clothes normally? Because if he's a child that's 15, but obviously not, he more is like, what, 10 or 12 years old, up there. So, I picture Sebastian with that two-piece pajama thing going on. I don't see him as that cool 15-year-old that doesn't wear the shirt but only wears the pajama bottoms type, like my nephew would do. I see him more. But anyway, so those are things like not. So what is, if your kid walked through the door, what would that mean to you? Well, that he's safe, that he's home. Like I just don't understand some of those questions that.
Sometimes I wonder though if to get these interviews, they say that they won't ask, like, that it won't. Some of them will be like those softball questions.
Yeah.
Because, like, I know with Nick Barris, he reached out to the mother and stepfather, and they were in communication. They planned an interview, and then Chris and Katie just stopped responding to him completely. And and Nick was like, "Well, I do ask hard questions." He said, he's like, "I still have the open invitation, but I do ask hard questions." And I wonder if they've kind of, I'm not saying this is for a fact, but have they gone places where they know that they'll get, easier questions? I don't know.
Right. But why? That's just like, again, hiding behind with your hands and, stuff like that. And I'm just like, but it's your kid. It's your kid. Like, if you have nothing to hide, what does it matter?
And I have trouble with this because I think that I don't think there's a right or wrong way to respond to trauma, regardless of whether it's not the way you would respond to trauma.
It's your kid.
I try to always remember that just because this is not what I would do doesn't mean it's wrong. Like, and I always look at Derek German if someone follows the Delphi case. I would never respond to what happened to a child the way that Derek German has responded.
Correct.
But trauma doesn't have a defined path, and so it's easy to say this is not what I would do, this is not what a parent should do, but I'm never gonna say that the reaction a parent has is wrong or right. There are things that are gonna raise suspicions to me and are gonna make me think, okay, well, this is something I'm gonna keep in the back of my mind, but it's never gonna make me point a finger at a parent just because they didn't respond the way that I think that they should have.
Oh, I'm gonna point. It's their kid. It's their kid. Like, I don't even know how to say this. It is like when the mom said, and I get Adam, I understand, I get it, right? Everyone has their different things, and but when people don't do things in normal ways,
even if you look at it as simple as fight or flight. I mean, you can look at the way that you would react to something, the way I would react to something. They could be as different as you might completely flee or run away from something, and I might run right towards it. And neither one of those is right or wrong. It's just the way that our natural response to the trauma we're experiencing. It's just the way that we react to it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Did you want to say more?
I would say it's just, to me, it's the surrounding.
Yeah,
it's then the surrounding behavior that then makes it suspicious or not.
Right. And so this is where I guess it's a difference of opinions too, because I get what you're saying. I don't agree with it because it's my darn kid. I know I have a more stronger personality because for me, I don't care what people think. I am there for the right reasons and to do that. I'm like, meaning some people are passive, some people have stronger personalities. I get that too. But when I think just to the bottom line of it, whose kid it is. So when the mom said in that interview on that one where they're holding hands, like, people should just be out there looking for our son. Really? You can't even show your face on a live? That's how I took it. Trev, Charmaine, let's go with Trev. Trev, how did you take that? Because maybe I'm just being too strong-minded on this one, but it really ticked me off when she was asking people to search for her son and they couldn't show themselves on the feed, you know? So
Yeah, I go back. I'm kind of in the middle of that between both of you guys, because I see definitely. I mean, trauma is very real, and the way you respond to it, it's all across the board. And we've all gone through things that if we find somebody that went through a similar situation, it's likely they had a completely different response. At the same time, I do have kind of I think I have less patience with that in cases with kids, because I feel like you need to be, no matter how you do it, you should be your child's biggest voice. If they go missing, you should be at the forefront, whether you're doing more on social media because you can't handle interviews. And I understand that going in front of a camera is not easy, especially in those situations. Then you push more on the forefront of social media or whatever, or have someone help you out. Some people get like a person, their family, to really push the
stepdad
media stuff, for lack of a better term, a spokesperson, like a media liaison between, that way they can answer the calls from all the reporters and answer the messages and all that. But somehow, some way you make it happen, I feel like. And so to not do that, I don't have as much patience as I would in just like a normal situation of when you're defining, a response to trauma, because I feel like you should still stand up tall for your kid. You got to be loud for them. But that's just my 2 cents, of course.
Yeah, sorry, I'm looking at the comment to Aspen said to Shibby. And I absolutely agree. And maybe it's because I don't. We're talking about children here, especially. I don't have that patience either. I'm just like, your child, get your butt up there, put it whatever quirky quirks you have aside. You're here to be a voice for your child. Your child, if that person's out there, wants to see your face. But anyway, Charmaine, what about you on that one?
I mean, I think I'm pretty loud and opinionated on it. If it's your kid, you're going to do what it takes to find your kid, and I couldn't imagine. I'm very thankful that I cannot relate to these people, but even if I couldn't stand up, I would be there. I would be beside my spokesperson, and the fact that she was sitting beside stepdad and she looked very distraught and she was self-soothing and all the rest of it, she was still there and she was still answering questions and he was talking over her a lot. That dynamic bothered me, and the whole dynamic actually bothers me. It just does. He seems very, like I said earlier, people think he seems very controlling, but for me, he seems more like a leader, take charge. He's got this, he's going to handle it, but that can be seen in different ways too. And that whole thing, that doesn't speak to, she was trauma and grief look differently on different people, but I keep pointing to Jen Soto and with her leg shaking and her whole body bouncing, and that is anxiety. That wasn't like a grief, that was like a fear.
She was
anxious. Whereas this one was either, she was scared, but it didn't come across as scared where her son is. It came across as grief, not even trauma. It was just different. And yes, if you lose your child in any way, you're going to have that grief. So I don't know but all I know for sure is that, number one, it took them too long to come out to the media. Number two, he talked over her way too much in that first interview, in my opinion, with Duchess. The one on the news station, or the two, I guess, a little bit different dynamic there, but still, it was very strange. But then by the time you get to day 11 and they're only interviewing their hands, basically, that seemed
weird,
bizarre to me, because we've seen your face, we've already got the news clips so that people are dissecting your body, your behavior. What's the point in just doing the hands? And now we don't see the emotion anymore. Now we're just hearing their voices, and I didn't hear any emotion, any, I guess, relevant emotion in their voices in that interview where they weren't showing their face. And because we couldn't see their face, to me it sounded like just a couple of parents talking about their kids.
Yeah, it did.
Right, and the thing I find most interesting in that is their reasoning for being off camera or just showing their hands is because they were too emotional. But I feel like that was their least emotional interview. out of
Right.
the
It
three.
absolutely was.
Absolutely
It
was.
absolutely was. It was.
You know?
And was it because they were off camera they were able to compose themselves? But you'd still, you still have that catch in your throat. You still have that emotion in your voice if it's there, and I didn't hear it.
That's again, I mean, Trev, like I said, from listening to your video that I was listening to this morning, a lot of the same thoughts that you had was exactly, like I said, where I was connecting with you, because, it was the same things that you were saying were the same things that, myself or Adam and Charmaine, we've been talking about. And yeah, it was like if you didn't know any better, it was just kind of like two parents talking. And yet, that feeling of knowing that they've already been out there, and he's not even cutting her off at like he was doing on the Duchess at all. Like, he didn't even interject to say anything about the phone call. They basically just skimmed over Sunday. So we were just doing some errands on Sunday. It was a normal day.
Right.
And then off to 12 to 6 in the morning. And, that was pretty much it. Like, there was like the least amount of information. The most amount of information was in Duchess, because even in the second interview, they didn't even talk about the flashlight. I don't even know that they talked about the phone call in the second interview, but there's definitely some things that they didn't talk about on that second interview where they were actually showing their faces. And to me, those little details are very important, because most people that might not have seen, and I've tried to promote the Duchess, I know it's called not the Duchess, but Duchess YouTube channel, to go and watch that one. And you listen for themselves what they're saying. You kind of got to listen to, for the most part, like the first two, because the third one has something about the clothing, more so about the shirts, and they don't know if it's this one or this one. But yeah, it's just like, if you didn't know any better and you've seen those hands, all you're thinking to yourself is, well, by day 11, you don't really seem to have that much emotion going on, because in the second one, you could feel and sense the agonizing pain that she's feeling, or, whatever emotion she's going through or feel, you know what I mean? Devastation. Third one there was just, I was just kind of like, what? What? First of all, I was like, what, to the interviewer for some of those questions. And I was just kind of like, what? You guys are barely even saying anything, but yet you've already aired it out. So might as well air out what you've already said, but they just glazed over Sunday. And that's what leaves people to do what they do online.
Yeah.
Because someone doesn't know about the flashlight and the mom story from Duchess channel. So they're still thinking, like, how do they know they got a flashlight? Or how do they know he has a flashlight? And then they start creating video. Oh, actually, now that we say that, because Nick here, Trev and Charmaine and Adam.
And
Go ahead. Trev, did you say something?
No.
Oh, okay. Maybe it was. I thought I heard growling, and I was
What
like,
time was the rest of that interview on tonight, Sunny? Do you
it
have
is
it?
there. Yeah.
Oh,
But,
okay, cool.
But look at this picture here, right? Like,
Yeah, this when Nick showed up to the vigil.
yeah. So, okay. So wait, let's talk about that for a second. Trev, you guys. So the biological dad, Seth Rogers, goes to the vigil, and Nick is able to talk with the father, Seth Rogers, to provide more information. And so hence why there's this live. And so then someone at this vigil takes this picture, because they're trying to make it seem like what? Like it was Sebastian with a smaller nose and big glasses, and then someone starts this. So what do you think, though? Because Christopher Proudfoot, and I seen the post where he said something like, does anyone know where they're holding the vigil? That's at 6 p.m. So I saw him make that post. And then all of a sudden I seen on JLR going, and the parents didn't even show up for the thing. Pathetic. And I'm like, really? They didn't even show up for it? So what do you think about that? That the real dad does, but Katie and Christopher didn't go to that vigil.
Yeah, I see. There's really no excuse, in my opinion, for that, because the vigil was literally it was a mile away from their house. It was a 4-minute drive from Stafford Court, from where they live. It's like an hour drive from where Seth lives, because he's in Clarksville. and he came, he was there, but neither of them came, and they're literally like a few minutes away. And the interesting thing about Chris asking where the vigil, or who was playing the vigil and all that, he actually saw that I posted. Somebody sent me the information about the vigil, and I shared it on my Facebook. And I didn't plan it, but they asked me to share the information. Well, I did. Then Chris the other night messaged me. Chris Proudfoot messaged me and said, you know, do you know who started this vigil? And I was like, no. And he was very adamant on wanting to know who started it. So part of me was like, okay, maybe he's trying to get more involved in the community. You know, he's trying to get involved in all this, and he's going to, you know, be a part of this. And then I find out last night that he didn't show up, and I was like, oh, great.
Right. But was that, could that be, and like, I don't know these people or their level of what they understand in the community, but some people look at a vigil as like almost like a memorial. And I know that there are parents out there in the past who have taken offense to holding a vigil for a missing child because they're not dead yet type thing. You know what I mean? So maybe was it his misunderstanding what it was actually about? Playing devil's advocate here.
They held one in their neighborhood. The neighbors held one there. I hope, I don't know if the parents went to that one either, but the neighbors of the Proudfoots held a vigil as well, just a small one in their neighborhood prior to this one.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the thing is about vigils is just, it's more, you know, about praying and, you know, coming together and supporting, you know, like the family and whatever they do at vigils. I'm not exactly 100% sure. I've never been to one. So what do they actually do at a vigil? Trev?
Well, I mean, I guess it depends too on like the state of a case. Like we have, this year we've started having monthly vigils for summer. And so in 4 days on the 15th, we'll meet at the swim hole, the area where that they were seen that day. And we gather and we pray for, you know, pray for summer, pray for answers, you know, pray for whatever is, you know, going to happen in that case, you know, if her to be found and answers to come. And so that's what we do there. And I mean, when you're so early on in a case, you're truly also praying that, you know, that Sebastian is found safe. I mean, while it's day 15, it's only day 15. I mean, you got to look at it both ways. It's, you know, it is day 15, but then you look at other cases, we passed day 1,000 for summer. So, I mean, when you're looking at day 15, it's very early on. So I think, you know, everybody's just really coming together to support each other and be hopeful. I know a lot of people from his school were there. So like classmates of his and stuff were there, and it was very hard on them. I know, of course, his dad was there and stuff. So it's, I mean, they're just I took it as they were, you know, gathering to support each other as a community and to support those like Seth who were there, who were, you know, very close, obviously, to this and really hurting from the situation.
Yeah, like meaning, so I get it. It's like, I mean, Ivy's saying something like, well, if they didn't ask or something like that, I don't think it's fair for someone to join, I don't think it's fair for someone to plan without including parents, then get mad when they don't show up. And I get that, right? You know, putting expectations because they decided to set it up, and then those parents, you know, the parents didn't. But I'm not going to lie, kind of goes with some of the oddities of what they've been doing in this. I mean, it just adds to the stack, to be honest with you.
Yeah. But they were made aware. I mean, they were made aware days before the vigil when and where it was, because they moved it. It was supposed to be in the neighborhood, and then they said, can we move it because that's a lot of people in the neighborhood? So then they moved it to the high school parking lot. So the family, I mean, was aware that it was going to be there.
Yeah. I mean, you know, just for me personally, like, I mean, again, you'd have to walk a mile in someone's shoes, and I get that, right? You know, I mean, to the third person looking in, to the person looking in, you know, we kind of always, I mean, we judge very fast, obviously, when we see things that we deem as unusual, like holding hands in an interview or thumbing the other person's arm or wrist or whatever, and you're not showing your face because you're too emotional. Like, it's easy to sit there and, you know, to judge because you're like, you know, get up on camera, come on now, you know. But they have done some odd things, and the thing is, public's not going to shut up when it comes to right or wrong and how things, regardless of what side someone feels, how things should be. When you have the internet and you have the public that can do it, like, you know, talk good or bad, both sides, that's never going to stop, and it's never going to change. Now, I can understand if the parents didn't want to go to this, you know, themselves. again, I'd have to walk a mile in their shoes to be in their position to decide if I was ready for something like that. I feel like I would be, but I mean, I don't know. It's hard because like the real dad's there. The mom and step, and it's right even near their home. Maybe they just weren't up for it. I don't know. I don't know because I'm not that person to sit on my butt. I'm more like that take charge type of person. Like you put your certain things in a box to the side. Like when I was going through like my divorce, like I'm remarried now, but when I was going through my divorce, and I felt like my whole world flip upside down. It's like, okay, box that whiny shit that you're feeling right there and focus on what's at hand and what I need to do. That's the person I am. And I'll break down afterwards, but I need to do this first.
That's my girl.
Who?
You.
Me? Oh,
yeah.
Stop flirting with me on the live. I don't know.
I'm like, if I could ever give someone better advice, like, I don't know how. You just pull up your big girl pants and you do it, right? Tits up.
Yeah. Okay. Now Trev, I'm not really sure because I didn't ask you because we were running a few minutes late there. I would like to play some of the clip of about the father. I know that he has two of them going on. Was it the first one or the second one that, first of all, that he's more talking about what Seth Rogers is saying?
And also, Lisa had a really good question, I think, for Trev too, about, I'm going to say this interview because I haven't seen it yet, but she wants to know where the construction site the dogs hit on was.
Oh,
Did he actually say that?
You mean the comment I just put on the screen?
That's the one. Thank you. Lifesaver.
Okay. Was there one? Tell me about it because I don't know.
Yeah, so I've heard a few different places.
I think
they acted like at first there was 0-cent trails, but I assume they got some hits, just not enough of a trail to say that he wandered, because a trail should be continuous if you walk. But so he said, the way he worded it, Seth, when he was at the vigil talking to Nick, he said over there, and they were like a mile away from the house. So my hunch is it's the developments behind their house. When we were looking at the map, you could see like there's the row of their houses, the row of houses behind them, and then there's like that dirt looking area on Google Maps. And I think that's where they're referring to, is that development of houses over there, but I'm not for sure. Yeah, right there.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Really?
Because that would be in pointing distance of, if you go to the right on the map a little bit, you'll see where they had the vigil. And so it would make sense if he kind of was on the camera talking to Nick and just said over there, because that's the way he worded. He said over there, and they were in the Beach High School parking lot. So it'd make sense if he pointed that direction.
And where's the house from there? So would he be going out the back of his house then?
Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
Or the side garage door, but probably the back.
He would end up behind his house though. Yeah, he would be like at that next row, like you were talking about, where like their house leads into someone else's yard. It'd be like that row of houses, and then off to the developments, if that's where they're saying the dog could have hit.
Okay, when did that come out? Was that just from Nick's interview today?
It had been rumored before, because they had talked about having a couple hits in a few places, but it didn't really. To me, it sounded like it didn't lead them to believe that there was necessarily much to it, but they did say it hit a little bit.
So someone else had sent me this earlier tonight, like just a little bit ago. That the dad was live on a YouTube channel.
The Pascal show. Oh yeah.
Really?
Oh, did he go on the Pascal show? Really?
He called in.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Is that earlier today, or because I was watching?
Apparently, I think it was tonight, right?
Yeah, it was during I just got a message a little bit ago about it. It was during this show.
I got two messages while we were live that the dad was on a YouTube channel, and I was kind of like, okay, well, nothing I can do about that right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I know of the Pascal show. I don't. It's not someone I overly watch. Just because Well, I mean, like I said, as a creator,
Right.
you know what I mean? I focus on the stuff at hand. And so if, for instance, if Charmaine or I were to see it in Apostance, or Charmaine were to show it to me, I'd be like, oh, okay. So, because, you know, Seth has been pretty quiet. And it was so funny today, too, because I was literally just thinking to myself.
Was it the dad or the stepdad? No, it was
yeah.
Seth.
It was Seth, the biological father.
Yeah.
Does Pascal, does he share his content? Do you want me to go find it?
I don't know if he copyright strikes, but I'm not going to play it in case he does.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, right, because I don't know if he's the type of person to do that, but I'm not going to risk it, because I know that certain copyright, people, like I could care less if somebody uses this content at all, because we're here to help each other. This isn't about ego or anything like that, or how much someone's taken away from the channel. It's, to me, it's about caring and sharing. Yeah, it's about caring and sharing and helping each other. And hey, somebody wants to use a piece of my live or whatever, use the whole freaking live, I don't care. Because as long as it's bringing awareness, and it's only beneficial to a channel, to be honest with you, to grow. For instance, your sub thing is up there for people to go to click on, and so maybe you might gain some subs from this live tonight, that now people are aware of your channel there, Trev. So I don't see the downfall of that. Do you typically, or how do you feel about that when it comes to your content? Are you protective of it, or?
Not at all. No, I tell people whatever, use my, unless you're going to, as long as people don't manipulate, make, change what you're saying. But if you're just wanting to use what I've had, then I'm like, feel free, go ahead.
So I don't know enough about Pascal. I mean, like I said, I don't know the dude, besides I've seen his show a few times. He does have, I don't even know what it is, probably a couple 100,000 subscribers. Does he, Charmaine? So I know he has, a high number of subscribers. Can't remember what it is. But again, and yeah, I would play it if
I think it's over 100,000. Like, if you want, I can check into it real quick.
Check into which? You can just message him privately and be like, "Hey, Pascal, buddy."
That's what I mean. If you want me to, I will.
Oh yeah, you can, absolutely. I would play it in a second, on that. Right. Do you ever get copyright striked at all, or ever, Trev?
No.
No? Like, do you ever use people's content, or is it just all your own?
I have occasionally, but usually I pull more news clips and things like that.
Yeah, same. Yeah, that's typically what I do too. Unless I know that it's a channel that we have that camaraderie between each other and stuff like that, or I know that they won't do it for sure. But anyways, yeah, so I just don't know. And you hate when you get one of those things blasted across your screen going, copyright strike. And it's not like you can just take out that part. You literally got to take down the whole live, and stuff like that. But anyways, so do you remember for Nick, if it was in the first part, like when does he get talking with Sebastian Rogers here? Do you know? Because he kind of had this live, which is 20 minutes, and then he must have cut out.
Let's see.
And then
his connection dropped, and then he went back live again to.
Yeah.
But the first one is probably where he covered more of the substance, and then he picked back up in the second one.
Okay. Now, what I was going to say to you before, and I forgot because I got sidetracked by my own talking. I'm not sure. Do you work in the morning? Do you need to get going right quick? What kind of time limit do you have for tonight here?
It's 11:43 here, so I'll have to hop off in a little bit, but I'm good for now.
Okay, perfect. Again, yeah, just whenever you need to, just let us know. Absolutely. Okay, so do you mind if I play a little bit of this?
Sure.
Okay. So let's see here. So you guys, this is, like I said, Nick Barris from Channel 5 News, out of Nashville, is it?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just going to kind of start, I think, here.
So now they've kind of scaled back any of the search effort. They'll respond to tips that come in, try to track down alleged sightings, but it's shifted more to what they call an investigation. What I will tell you is shifted more now to a criminal investigation. As I've said all along, the simple fact is this: Children do not vanish without a trace on their own. So this is a criminal investigation where it is believed that foul play is involved. Are they ruling out the possibility that Sebastian may still be out there somewhere, perhaps, and will turn up? It's possible. I find that highly unlikely. I would be stunned if no one else is involved in this time. That being said, I want to go on the record here right now and speak on behalf of the parents involved. A lot of social media is attacking and making claims about digging into the stepfather and the biological mother, and that's not fair. That is not fair. Same thing if anyone's saying, well, what about the biological father, Seth Rogers? What about the parents? I understand saying this up front that whenever someone disappears like this, immediately, the first suspects are going to be those closest to them, the parents, okay, a wife, a husband, someone like that. But it's not right for people to continually now on social media at this stage of the game blame the stepfather, the mother. Okay, I've seen more of that than I have with regard to Seth Rogers. Again, he lives in Clarksville. He's a deputy with the Davidson County Sheriff's Department. He was working the night that his son disappeared. But let me just say up front, my understanding, talking to my sources with law enforcement, no one has been cleared, okay? No one has been cleared, meaning, oh, there's no way that's a suspect, okay? That is been looked at this point. No one necessarily cleared. But what I can tell you is that the stepfather and stepmother, okay, have been vetted exhaustively to this point. And law enforcement and people involved in the investigation have told me, okay, that there's absolutely no evidence at this time linking them to the disappearance of Sebastian. And, okay, there's no evidence at this time linking them to that, and that they both and everyone involved continues to cooperate, fully cooperate with the investigation. So that's what we can say. Now, potentially, could that change when they say at this point there's nothing linking them? Sure, it could. Is there any evidence right now, hard evidence that there's foul play? No. There's no witnesses, there's no blood, there's nothing. But in the absence of him turning up on his own, okay, a child by himself, age 15, high functioning, unless he's fallen into some kind of hole somewhere and can't get out, short of that, he would turn up. Short of that, that means someone else is involved. And it could be anyone at this point. But I just want to again say, and I know a lot of you will continue with the theories and pointing and saying in the absence of all, we have to look at the parents. That's fine, but it's not fair at this stage to call them suspects or to write mean things on social media without having any evidence to back it up. So let's just take time and let's work it. If evidence surfaces that way, I promise you, I'll be all over it, okay? But right now, let's just, back off. There's frustration, I know, because we don't have any new leads on this. But to make those claims, I just want to say, is not fair. All right, so moving on beyond that, let's talk a little bit about Seth Rogers, who, if anyone's been cleared, it's him. He wasn't there. He has shared custody of Sebastian. A lot of people wondered early on, well, where is he? And by the way, why didn't we hear from him right away? I found him to be a more soft-spoken man, quiet, maybe a little bit shy. And during the first week and a half, and I didn't interview with him maybe within the first week on the phone, but he was focused 100% on searching for his son. Devastated by this. This is why we didn't really hear from him officially on camera with a detailed, long interview until yesterday. And I totally understand where that's coming from, okay? It took his time, but we're going to be doing more, he and I, more stories as things develop. But let me just talk about this again. So he had shared custody. He told me that he has a good relationship with the stepfather and mother, that he sees Sebastian during breaks, holidays, summers, comes, spends back and forth, weekends, talks to him probably at least every other day. They're close. As far as I know, this is his only child. And so he was devastated by this. And, my first question from him was, it's been 2 weeks. What's going through your mind? And he's like, Nick, what's going through my mind is the same thing I think that's going through law enforcement's mind. It's as though this child disappeared into thin air, just vanished. And he's like, it's just hard for him to believe that dogs didn't pick up any scent. And he mentioned to me, and he knows some things maybe law enforcement has shared with him that he hasn't with me. You may have heard some of this, that initially some of the bloodhounds did pick up Sebastian's scent leading up to near maybe a construction site. There's some homes being nearby. And he goes, it got to a point and then all of a sudden stopped, as though he didn't take another step and just vanished from that point. Well, no one just vanishes. If indeed they were on target on that and searching, that meant at that point is where he got grabbed by someone else. Now, I asked the father about, whether he believes foul play. And I had to bring it up. He didn't. He doesn't want to acknowledge it. That's probably his greatest fear, that somehow this is foul play. Because if you'll see my story, if you go back and watch it on my Facebook page, he just says, I just hope he's still alive. I just hope he's still alive. And if there's foul play involved, that brings those chances down. But there's no question at this point, and he acknowledged to me that someone else has to be involved. Now, he doesn't know who. He's not pointing fingers, but he is a firm believer that his son, at age 15, who is high functioning, autistic, but has memorized the phone number, can call 911, knows how to respond, doesn't do silly things, is a smart kid. If he was on his own and would have reached out to him by now. He just believes someone had to take him from the scene. Why? Motive? How? No idea. They're perplexed. Investigators say the same thing. Now, I asked him a question, and I did get some interesting insight into this. And I asked him about his son being autistic and the idea that that evening, from what we understand, he left the house barefoot and with a flashlight. Why, how, whatever, wearing, basically all black, but leaving the house sometime overnight, barefoot and with a flashlight. And Seth says that is not what his son would do. Now, he says on the very rare occasions, very, very rare occasions, his son might run from the house to the mailbox to get the mail barefoot. But short of that, no. And I said, well, why? Is it because he's autistic and his feet are sensitive and he's sensitive to that? No, he goes, no. He goes, it has to do with an incident that happened when Sebastian was a child. And he described it to me. And I put this in my story. He said that as a child, Sebastian saw a pile of what looked like mud. And as a child would, and I don't know, maybe he was 5 or 6, he goes and stomps on it, and he was in the yard. Turns out, and he was barefoot. He was out playing in the yard barefoot as a little child and stomps on this mound. Turns out it was a fire anthill. And his dad told me, he got lit up by those fire ants that day. And that is something that Sebastian never forgot. And from that day forward, and maybe it made a greater impact because he's autistic or whatever, but from that day forward, he did not like the idea of getting his feet dirty, going anywhere where there's dirt, and always wanted to have his shoes and socks on. So would Sebastian, Seth said, go and get the mail maybe barefoot real quick, just run out, grab it, and come back? Yes. Would he get up in the middle of the night in the dark, walk outside, and then disappear barefoot after what he went through there and what he's like? He just says, no way. It's possible that he went out thinking he was just going to go, briefly outside for something or for some reason. And then the thinking could be that's when he was grabbed or snatched or something happened to him. But he goes, on his own, there's no way his son would have gone walking away and disappeared barefoot. He would have put on his shoes and socks because of that incident with the anthill. And that he was very concerned about going outside and being properly bundled up. He told another story about how it'll often be in the spring or fall when it's still cool out, and Sebastian would be wearing a jacket outside, he said, and they'd come inside and Sebastian wouldn't take it off. He wanted to keep the jacket on. He liked to have jackets on. He thought he'd be going back out, and he would talk about, hey, Sebastian, it's warm in here. Take your jacket off. Stay a while. And he goes, no. He likes to wear a jacket, and he likes to be bundled up and dressed properly for going outside. That's another story that Seth shared with me. Didn't include that in the story that aired tonight. And so he said, yeah, Sebastian is not in the middle of the night thinking he's going to go a distance and disappear and go somewhere, go out barefoot and not wearing anything other than just a thin top T-shirt and some thin like pajama pants. It's just not in his DNA. It wasn't going to happen. So, he's looking at that and he's like, so what got him out of the house? why did he go out the house, and what drew him there? And he did say for Sebastian to do anything as rash as that, to get up in the middle of the night, means something must have very much upset him to the point where he felt he couldn't deal with it, or had to go out to check something out, something along those lines. But that's his take, and I'm sure he shared that with law enforcement. And so, okay, if that's not something Sebastian would do, as we said, the story from the mother and stepfather is that he left, and it appears that his shoes were all there. They shared that, and so it means he probably left barefoot, and they believed he left with a flashlight, which indeed may have happened, but the plan probably wasn't for him to go a long distance away. You know what I'm saying? So something happened to him if he, for some reason, went out in the middle of the night, which again, Seth says his son was not a wanderer. Now, you'll notice I did share some video, the first video we've seen of Sebastian that's been made public. And if there's more of it that we can get, I don't know. I haven't seen if the stepfather and mother have any video. I'd imagine they do. Seth didn't have a lot, but what he provided, and you can have a look at that. There's one video of Sebastian. He's at the front of the line in one of those giant tug of wars with a team behind him and a tug of war. And you can just see this kid. He's athletic. I mean, his dad's telling me that he's a fast runner. He's strong. He wants to be involved. And you can just see him pulling on this. And the other team wins, pulls him over, and he bounces back up. The other video that we have is from his middle school graduation. It's from a distance. It's scratchy. It's not great. You can hear them call his name, but you can see this lean, young man, I think he's wearing kind of white slacks and shirt, walking and then going to his seat from a distance. And his dad said that was one of his proudest moments. Sebastian graduated, made it onto high school. He talked about how he and his son, have had great hopes for what he might do. I mean, this was a boy that was succeeding despite whatever he was dealing with autism. A sharp, good kid who was well-liked, high functioning, and graduated and walked and went through that. It was kind of neat to see that. It was heartbreaking watching that. We've seen a lot of the photos that have been made public, seeing some of this video. I think I wanted to put that out there. Anything that can help anyone get a better look at him and then maybe report it. And by the way, there have been reports of alleged sightings that law enforcement continues to receive, and they do their best to check them all out. Everyone is very I think cognizant of what's going on. And listen, I think this just proves how people are very, very wrapped up in this. You might see the post just before this. I was at the candlelight vigil. I actually went to the vigil. Initially I was out that way and was not really planning on going and didn't know. And then I heard from Seth and said, well, I'll go and maybe we'll do an interview. So I was leaving a gym, I had my sweats on and a hoodie. And while I was there at the vigil, and I wanted to be there for the vigil just for Seth, not for a news story. So I wasn't dressed for it. It started getting chilly. And at one point I put my hoodie on and I was in the crowd and I was trying to keep low key. And some folks took photographs of that, a couple of them, and they posted it on Facebook thinking that this person with a hoodie and these glasses looked like Sebastian. Could that be him? And a lot of you are going to say, yeah, Sebastian is going to show up at his own prayer vigil, and Nick Barris looks like a 15-year-old, which, by the way, is flattering. But listen, I posted, no, it's not me. These are well-meaning folks. They see things, they bring it up, and I don't have a problem with that. I'd rather have people report things like that and have it be checked out. It shows people are watching. That's just my point, though, how things can take off. That picture's posted, and I see this picture of me kind of just with this crazy hoodie, and I'm like this. I look silly, but I guess I resembled Sebastian a bit, not me. But that's how people are watching. And so I appreciate that. And I think the people who made that post meant well, and that's fine. But that's what's like out there. People are so desperate to find any potential lead. Now, again, from law enforcement, I think we're going on now 5 or 6 days that there's been no official news update. They did, several of them early on from both the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation and the Sumner County Sheriff's while the search was initially going on. Since then, they've dialed back the search, and the bottom line is it's a criminal investigation now, though I don't think they've used the word criminal when they say they're investigating, but that's exactly what's going on now. They're looking for that, and they're still hopeful that Zach will turn up. I mean, that Sebastian will turn up, but they're going out and tracking down all leads if there's sightings. But beyond that, they're going back now, interviewing everyone. They continue to scrutinize security video taken from homes in the neighborhood. On that front, stay tuned for later this week. I'm going to have an exclusive story coming your way that you won't want to miss. That might be a potential lead of some sort in this case. I can't go into that now because I'm still waiting to get more details on it, but I'm going to have another story later this week, which will probably lead to another Facebook Live near the end of the week. But stay tuned for that. But what they're doing now is still going through all that video. They're interviewing people time and again. I asked, Seth, how many times has he been interviewed? And he says, a few times, usually as a group, they've been asked. All of them have been very upfront. Like I said, everyone, cooperating. I know that law enforcement goes back and interviews a lot of the key players who were closest to him individually, neighbors, the mother, the stepfather, the biological father, to look for any inconsistencies in their story. And so, when they do interviews, I guarantee you, law enforcement might be watching this. They may look and see what Seth said. They may have looked and seen what the mother and stepfather said in other interviews, see if everything jived,
Okay, so that's where it stopped. That's where he lost his connection there. I know he had, what was those videos? Oh, right there. Was that one? Okay. Okay. So, Trev. Hi.
Yep.
Hello. Okay. So I thought that was there was some interesting, definitely info in there, about like that anthill and about the whole not liking, not go out with shoes on, because that would be traumatic, like that type of experience. How certain things happen to you. Like I remember my first bee sting. It was my only one. I was like 7 years old, running through a sprinkler, and all of a sudden I was like, and so I don't have this big fear of bees, but you know what I mean? Like it like, like there's traumatic things that stick in your brain. But anyways, so from this particular live that we heard, what do you take away from that? I don't know, just whatever you took away from that.
Yeah, it made it harder to believe too that he wandered off without shoes. That's one thing I took away, as I feel like, is the whole he won't go out without shoes on. That was odd to me, just again to think that why would he have left without shoes? Someone
in the comments, if you didn't see it, said something like, why is nobody talking about slippers? I don't know. I don't know many, like maybe he had slippers, maybe he didn't. I don't know.
Well, parents say that all of his shoes are accounted for.
Well, that's how I take it as. If all of his shoes, I'm thinking that's including, flip-flops and, any potential slippers or something
right,
that they had.
And you would have to then verify that between the mom and the dad's house, because any kid that has two homes knows that you're gonna have some shoes at one house, presumably some shoes at the other house.
That construction site thing, that makes me go, things that make you go home, because that seems realistic to me. That perhaps he snuck out of the house, crossed his way over there to that construction site, and then all of a sudden it's like, poof. What did you think? What do you think about that? Like that maybe he did just go do something and snuck out. And
is it true that Sebastian was going to go live with Seth at the end of the school year?
Not that I've heard.
Where did you hear that, Adam?
Charmaine.
Did he say it? Charmaine?
So I assume it was probably in the interview with Pascal tonight.
Yeah, she's listening to the Pascal as we speak, to see.
Oh, okay. Well, if he said it, I'm not. I just haven't heard that before today.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, just because you haven't listened to Pascal and what Seth has said, right?
Where is Charmaine, by the way? She's
listening.
Is she not backstage?
No, she was trying to, but she kept going, quit putting me on stage. I'm trying to stay backstage because I'm listening to Pascal at the moment because I had asked her to. Well, hold on. Okay, so Sebastian was going to move in with Seth. She's saying at the end of the school year, Dad sounds distraught. She says, don't ignore me, LOL. AO. Sent caught at the construction site, but didn't go further. Police won't tell him anything because he's emotionally attached. When you're ready, here's the link. You put that. Okay.
The last one was me. All right,
Yeah.
so when you're ready to come back, here's the link.
Yeah. Okay. So that's new information about that, obviously, that to go live with his dad at the end of the year. But okay. So let's go back to that construction site again. Does that seem feasible to you? Like that perhaps he did go out and there was a scent picked up there, like meaning that's within reason of the house.
Yeah.
Barring whether he did go out the back door. So where did you hear about that there was furniture kind of blocking that outside door?
So that's the same source of mine that told me about the camera.
About the cameras. Okay. Which would be a good source. So then there's the garage door, because remember, if it is late at night and he's wearing pretty much all black, let's just say, like I said, I don't got that person's camera, but I'm sure that they were sitting there with a freaking magnifying glass going like, do you see anything? Because it would make but they keep saying the front door. Come on. If he went out the front door, that person that you're speaking of, your source, would have literally had footage of that. Do you think?
I mean, if he went out that front door, that camera should have, if there's a camera truly pointing right there, it should have picked him up. Yeah.
It should have picked him up. Just going based off if they can see the front door and the garage side, and the door that's on the garage side, it would make sense that camera, should be able to pick him up, because if somebody's turning to the side, those white stripes pretty much are going to show up, as walking. If it was just black, perhaps not. You wouldn't maybe pick it up as much. I don't know how the trees look there right now, if they're fully bloomed around there, and they get the gist of the front door. But if the trees are all flourishy and stuff like that, So now, see, they're just adding more questions than answers, right? To all this. But, okay, so if we hypothetically think that he did make his way, you know what? Let me take that down for 1 sec. Let's go back over to Google Earth for a sec. And again, Trev, appreciate any time that you have with us here. And whenever you do need to hop off, like I said, if you just say so.
Okay, I probably look at the time. I probably will hop off for the night, but
oh yeah, absolutely. Okay. You know what? Let's just do your last maybe thoughts for the night on this case. And I know you're probably going to hop off and you're going to head on over to Pascal's show and maybe put on your earbuds for the night to listen to what Seth is saying, right? Just so to perhaps give a little bit more information of things that we didn't know or that weren't said by Nick over here. So anything like last thoughts, you can say whatever you want. You can say if you're doing a live stream tomorrow on it, a video on it, whatever any last thoughts are with regards to Sebastian's case.
Yeah, I mean, my big thing is, we all have our thoughts and opinions and things just don't add up. So the biggest thing is just keep, sharing Sebastian's story, putting Sebastian's poster out there, his face, his story, and make sure he's not forgotten. Because when there's not much in the public eye as far as from law enforcement, people they speculate for a bit and then they lean off the case. So just, keep Sebastian's name out there, because no matter how long this goes on, he deserves to be found.
Oh, absolutely. And hold on.
1,000%. Here we go.
Charmaine, are you ready to come back on?
Yeah. Yes, I am.
How long was Seth on for? Do you know?
Still on, and I'm gonna say just a sec here. because he's got a little thing that pops up. So
About 30 minutes, I think.
yeah, a little over 30 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. So what were the highlights that you heard so far, Charmaine?
So far, it's actually quite interesting, and I got to tell you guys, Dad sounds distraught. Like
Oh.
he is worried sick.
How bad?
So you can hear it in the voice. You can. It's cracking. He's actually breaking down at certain points. So, kind of big news, I guess. Sebastian was set to go and live with him full time at the end of the school year. Dad had moved here, I believe, from California, moved to Tennessee to be closer, so that he could see his son very often. He talked to him every day from Monday to Thursday. And then he left the weekends to Mom on Mom's weekends. And then, of course, he expected the same from Mom on his weekends. Just leave us be. So that I thought was pretty significant in that this was not his weekend. So he hadn't spoken to Sebastian since Thursday.
Okay.
Another part was that, the scent was caught at the construction site, but didn't go any further. And because he is so close to this case, he's so emotionally invested in it, the police aren't involving him whatsoever. They won't tell him anything. The only thing that they asked of him, like they realized that he's searching on his own. They just want to know where he's searching and what he's doing in the case.
Right.
They're not trying to stop him, but they want him to be forthright with them.
Yeah.
And then stepdad left for Memphis a week before. He was, as far as Seth is concerned, stepdad was in Memphis for a solid week before this happened.
Yeah, I think Nick referenced that it seemed like he'd been gone, for a bit, not just like one day, it was a bit. So, okay. Well, Charmaine, Charmaine, thanks for that. Trev is going to be hopping off here. And again, you guys, same thing, Trev, just keeping his story alive. We keep promoting for people to share the poster. It's on Twitter. It's on the community page. Just share it around. Again, if he is out there still somewhere, and maybe it could be 100 miles away, 200 miles away. Anyways, just keep sharing it. And, like I said, this one grabbed in my heart. So it's one of those ones that, it's kind of like when Nick and whatever keep saying it as well. It's like, not giving up on this one. We're going to keep following this one. It's not just like one of those pastime ones. I mean, you can't cover everything all the time, but, usually a case gravitates to every individual creators and stuff like that. So absolutely agree with that. Trev, just keep the focus out there. Even if there's not a lot being said from, the LE or whatever, the sheriff's office. They're obviously working very hard on this case and trying to figure out what happened to Sebastian. So other than that, totally appreciate your time with us. And I know you want to probably go listen to Pascal and see what information you can derive from that as well. But it was a pleasure just having you on here. Thanks for doing so.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for having me up. And anytime in the future you guys want to do something, just let me know. I appreciate you reaching out.
Yeah.
No, we appreciate it. I really, really appreciate hearing what you had to say.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'd like to hear more about Summer Wells maybe sometime.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I haven't particularly paid attention to that one. Like besides the gist of it, meaning she's not been found, but I haven't been keeping up with any of the drama or the different things going on. But yeah.
Well, it's always good to have somebody that has been kind of keeping up with it so they can weed out kind of the drama and just give us the facts. Like, what do we know?
Yeah.
And that stuff.
Yeah. And you guys, again, in the description, but obviously here as well. Okay. This is Trev's channel here, Trev Time. Please go help him out and subscribe. And again, go look at the content that Trev has on his channel as well. And thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you guys. I hope you guys have a great night.
Yeah,
You
you
too.
too.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Trev. Thanks, Trev. All right. So yeah, so thank you, Charmaine, for doing that. I was, like I know that all of us are probably gonna go watch Pascal's show after that. Now,
drop the link
for which?
for the Pascal.
Yeah,
thing.
sure. We can post it. We can post it for sure for people. Adam, well, what Charmaine's doing that. What are your thoughts about the whole construction, picking up a scent there? Like, if they picked up his scent there, means he was there. What do you think?
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, or something of his led to there at least. I mean, I followed enough cases where a scent led to a location where the person never physically themselves were at, but I just don't know. I mean, the most logical explanation would be that Sebastian was in the area that the scent led them to, but
Yeah.
I just don't know what the circumstances were. So
Yeah, and thank you guys for the green hearts too, by the way, for Sebastian. Favorite color is green. Well, but does that seem like plausible that he goes out the backside of the home, is not really seen on cameras because it's not a big distance, really. It's not like, do you know what I mean? It's almost like a direct line right there. And then, does wander off. Like I said, maybe freaking Minecraft dream or something like that. I don't know. Like this thing doesn't have where I can go down on it because the roads aren't there on Google Maps. And then all of a sudden, boom. Like that seems logical to me.
That kind of, what kind of equipment? Kind of equipment is there at the construction site where a
big
boy
toys
would be interested in going to check it out? You know what I'm saying? And what kind of neighborhood is this? Is this somewhere where maybe drug users or something could hide out, or homeless people could be sleeping, could come across a young boy?
In Hendersonville?
And Adam keeps groaning over there.
Sorry. I'll stop.
It's really like fishing for ideas and trying to brainstorm a little bit, because what we have just doesn't make sense. The dots aren't connecting.
I mean,
Hendersonville is a wealthy area. I don't.
This mapping is from okay. So this is the area here.
Either way, even if he did wander off there, where is he? It's just.
Well, that's where the abduction part would come in, Adam.
Yeah, but then then it would play into. Then let's go. Traffic light to traffic light. I bet there's cameras at one end of that street or the other. I bet there's a camera. So, if he was abducted, there's gonna be photographic evidence somewhere.
It's late at night. He sneaks through the trees. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like,
he's scared of the dark. He doesn't like nature. He doesn't like to feel dirt.
But maybe he likes the idea of the big construction equipment, and he just wanted to go and check it out.
It doesn't track with what his dad said about him not liking.
But
to be dirty. It doesn't like, that he's not a kid that would.
My grandson doesn't like to be dirty either, but he would cross a busy friggin' highway to see a excavator, as he calls it.
Yeah. Well, I would look. I would look at an excavator, but I wouldn't go into the construction site and get dirty if I was afraid of, the sensory things that involve dirt on my body.
Well, see, I'm just kind of not. Okay, things have been said about no shoes and blah, blah, blah. Is it possible that he actually did have shoes on? He might very well have had shoes on.
Absolutely, he might have.
Yeah.
Parents don't remember everything, especially when they're going through a horrible experience like your son missing.
you know.
Another thing that I caught on that interview was Dad was talking about his PlayStation or Xbox or whatever. And he said that that has online access, but all of the people that are on his game are on his friends list, and they're his friends, not Sebastian's friends. And he is aware of when Sebastian is on. Sebastian doesn't have his own account.
Well, and I would assume law enforcement also now has full access to that entire list and to the communications, because I guarantee you they would have confiscated that PlayStation and downloaded all of the contents of any communication.
Yeah.
I'm just quickly showing the video as we're talking. I actually really got to go to the bathroom. Is that Sebastian is like right there? You can see him
in front of him. Yeah.
In front with the black pants on. It's a really bad video in a sense, but it was one, we'd always only seen pictures. And I believe he said another. Do you guys want me to play, because his thing dropped off, do you guys want me to play what else Nick said in that second part where he connected? Did you guys want to listen to that as well? Don't all speak at once.
Sure.
Like, did you want to? Yeah. Charmaine?
Yes, I said sure.
I'm there. Charmaine, she's in a different planet right now.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
What you doing? Oh, this boy is missing as well, people. A missing college student. Riley Strain. Metro Nashville Police. I've seen this one as well. I mean, you guys can go over to Nick Barras, okay? If you guys want to try to keep up to date on Sebastian's case and stuff like that. I didn't realize that was actually Nick right there, like that picture that somebody took, because only when he said it did I realize, wait, that is you. Hold on.
Are we back live now? Yes, we are. I apologize. We got cut off there. Come on back. It just all of a sudden, my sympathies go out to the parents on this. I can only imagine what they're going through. Again, getting back to law enforcement and how they've handled it. I've said from the very beginning that I think they've done everything they can do. This is not one of those where you're like, okay, well, did they get this? Did they do that? They were late to this. No. Law enforcement to me has been top notch. They continue to search. They continue to track down leads. And behind the scenes, I guarantee you, they're working it. And there's frustration. And a story this big, with people having expectations of Sebastian being found or some resolution, there is pressure on law enforcement to close this case. And I guarantee you right now, as we speak, there's frustration over the fact that there have been no solid leads. And this boy appears to have vanished into thin air, which we all know is not possible. Bottom line on this is that someone out there knows something. Someone out there knows something. And the number is 1-800-TBI-FIND. Okay? If you have a sighting, report it. If you have some information that you think might be pertinent, report it. If you have some video that shows up that you think might be something that plays a role in this, report it. All of that. Someone knows something out there, and they need to come forward, because just from talking face to face with Seth Rogers, this is tearing him up. He's a good man, and he's heartbroken, and he misses his son, and he can't understand why or how something like this would happen. And I've got to be honest with you. I've covered my share of missing children cases over the years. And Joe Clyde Daniels, his body's never been found. His father did confess and is serving life in prison for felony murder. But most of the time, there are leads or signals. It's rare sometimes that you can't find anything. And there have been cases, some other cases, Summer Wells, there's cases like that. But in general, the cases when a child just wanders off, something is found, and there just hasn't been in this case. So that's about what I have, and I apologize. A moment ago, my Facebook Live went off, and it'll be hard for me to get back to some of those questions some of you were asking, but I've re-upped it here. My signal went out, but come back and join. At one point, we had up to 3,000 people watching. You know what this is? It's a mixture of lemon juice, Gatorade, and vitamin C powder. I don't know. Trying to keep the allergies, which I get bad this time of year, from making me sick. Okay, neither here nor there. Let's see. I think I'm going to scroll back through and see if some of you have questions. Ask them now. There may be some things I'm trying to think that I've left out. There is much more. I wish everyone could have been there next to me while I was interviewing the father. You know, not just to ask questions, but to observe him, you know, and to pick up on certain things and how he feels and how he reacts. And yeah, a long time ago, I came to the conclusion when I talk about fairness in judging guilt or innocence, when you look at people, a long time ago, I ceased judging people if I thought, well, they're not crying, they can't be upset, or that person's actually laughing over there when his child's missing, or, you know, those sound like crocodile tears to me. They may be, and you can make a judgment on the way someone carries themselves, but it's not fair. I've seen too many times where just in extremely stressful, awkward situations, people sometimes react in ways that you would never imagine because they don't know. They've never been in this before. And they're having a visceral reaction, and the emotion comes out maybe in a way that doesn't jive with what you think they should do. But it's not fair to judge on that. So keep that in mind also. But that being said, I think I'm a good judge sometimes because I've done enough of these interviews. If someone is feeling something sincerely, or if they're communicating something that's kind of been rehearsed, okay? And having interviewed Seth Rogers, it's from the heart. It wasn't rehearsed. I don't think he really wanted to do the interview because he's shy and quiet, but I can tell you he did it because he is going to do anything he can to help find his son. So let's take a look at some of the questions some of you have, and I'll do my best to answer them. And if you posted a few questions on the last Facebook before I lost my signal, please come on. Let's see. Hey, did you say anything about his stepdad? I smell. Okay, so someone just joined. A lot of people pointing to the stepfather, and I guarantee you the stepfather has been, you know, vetted at this point. And what I said is it's not fair to judge the stepfather and mother right now and say, well, it's got to be them, with no evidence. And there is none. And I've talked with law enforcement in this investigation, and they said to this point, okay, there is no evidence linking the stepfather or mother to the disappearance of Sebastian. And everything they've told them, they've tried to check, and I don't know if they could check it all, they said has checked out. Now, does that mean they've been cleared? I say no. I don't believe they've been cleared. I don't think anyone at this point, at this early stage, still just 2 weeks, has been cleared. But what I do think is that they are cooperating, and that it's not fair to call out the stepfather, who I can imagine on social media, and I'm not on there looking, that a lot of people are going after the stepfather and mother for whatever reason. I don't know. Like I said, I've never met them. They won't do an interview with me. But if they did, you know, I'd be fair and honest with them. I do ask hard questions. If you don't like hard questions, you don't want to talk to me. But I would talk to them, and that's a standing offer. And it's not fair to judge them at this point without any evidence. And law enforcement says there isn't. So just imagine these are two parents that are heartbroken right now that their child is missing, and they have to deal with the added burden of feeling that people on social media are accusing them when there's no evidence whatsoever. If evidence surfaces, trust me, I'll be all over it, and you'll hear about it. Same thing goes for the father. Okay, Seth Rogers. Some people have brought it up. What about the biological father? Well, he was working that night, and the child wasn't staying with him that day, and there's no evidence linking him to it. So go ahead and have your suspicions. That's fine, but it's not fair to post on social media, oh, it's got to be the stepfather. No, it doesn't. There has to be evidence to back that up. Otherwise, it's just not fair. Yeah, a lot of people agreeing with me. These kids do not just disappear without a trace on their own. So I'm a firm believer someone's involved. No question. Someone is involved. Who? Your guess is as good as mine. Yeah, Dad breaks my heart. If you watch those interviews, it's heartbreaking for him. You can just tell that Seth was a big, big part of his life. And I say is a big part of his life. Hopefully will continue to be if he's found, but he's missing now. The father's heartbroken that his boy's not there. You could just feel it in his voice. It's very difficult for him. Let's see, what else do we have? Grandparents involved with Sebastian. I know there are grandparents. I don't believe, I have not heard anything about their involvement. I do not know about their involvement on that. That's a fair question, but I haven't heard anything about grandparents, if they've been questioned or if they're around. Yeah, the stepdad wasn't even home that weekend. That is correct. I'm sure the TBI has vetted this, but he was in Memphis. Now, I don't know the timetable of when he went there or when exactly he came back or whatever. But, you know, they can confirm all that stuff with his work, with his cell phone, with his car, all of that. And so the stepfather was not home. The only people home that evening that we know of was the mother and Sebastian. That's it. Now, did someone else come from someplace else that was on the outside? Maybe. Who would that be? Don't know. So that's stuff that law enforcement will, you know, kind of vet. And Ashley's right. They have been very hush-hush throughout. And that's there's a reason for that. I think that in this criminal investigation, they have a lot of theories that they're working on, and they don't want to put out what they're looking at because they don't want to tip anyone off or anything along those lines. So trust me, they've got theories behind the scenes that they're trying to find evidence to support. They are working it. I absolutely know they are working it, and they're keeping it quiet at this point, which is fine. I'm good with them. If they don't have something new to share with us, don't hold a news conference. But the next news conference they call, my take, if they call one, is going to be for some significant development. And I hope there is one. Why is there no camera across the street next door or anyone showing he walked out the door? It's very dark, and I don't know. I have not seen all the videos, but as I say, when it comes to the video and security video, stay tuned. I'm going to have an exclusive story coming later this week that might shed some light on that very question. But I can tell you, there are cameras in neighbors' houses that would have seen this, but keep in mind, it was pitch black that night. This is a street, and I've been out there where there are no street lights, none. I mean, it is ink black out there, okay? Except for any windows that might have lights coming through. But in the middle of the night when people are asleep, it's very dark. And those cameras from a distance, unless the individual walking has a light with them, and again, we heard that Sebastian might have had a flashlight, and if he did, then maybe that would have shown up, okay? But that's why we don't know about the cameras picking any clear-cut thing up. One thing I still don't have the answer to is, remember, they were asking for people in the neighborhood to share video from that night into Monday morning to see, like people are asking if there's video of Sebastian. And then they extended it, and they said anyone with video from earlier in the day on Sunday. It seems like they want to see maybe who was driving through the neighborhood earlier in the day in broad daylight where they would be able to see everything. Who was coming and going? Any suspicious vehicles in the area? Anyone stop at the house that maybe they didn't know about? I mean, they wanted that. No, law enforcement has not said why they did that, but that's kind of what I draw from it. And I've not heard if they found anything. Is there another child in the home? No, it's just Sebastian. I think his stepfather is in a custody battle for a daughter. So I guess he has a stepdaughter or half daughter or something like that, but they live out of state. So Sebastian was the only child in this house that night. Yeah, a lot of people, you didn't miss anything when the video went out for me. I started right up. So if you were with me at the beginning, I've come back now. I haven't recapped what I said in the last one, but trying to pick up now. Some of you may have just joined. I may hit a couple of those items before I wrap things up again for you. I believe he was at school in the days before he went missing. Parents say that Sebastian absolutely loved cats. Have they noticed stray cats in the neighborhood? Fair question. Could he have gone out looking for a cat? I don't know. Possible, I suppose. I was talking, this was interesting. I talked to his father again in that exclusive interview. Asked him at this age, and he goes, you know, what's Sebastian like? And he's kind of smiled, and he goes, he's a 15-year-old. He's active. Now, he did emphasize this, by the way. Some of the reports say Sebastian's like 120, 125 pounds. He goes, no, my son's 106 pounds, if that. He is a small, skinny little kid. He's fast, small, skinny little kid. Happy-go-lucky for the most part, sweet guy. And he goes, yeah, typical 15-year-old. My next question was, has he discovered girls? And he goes, oh, yeah, he's discovered girls. And I was asking, he goes, yeah, there's a restaurant we go to, a Waffle House that we like to. And he tried to get the phone number from one of the waitresses. I mean, he's, you know, this is a kid, 15. So, yeah, he's aware of that. And so that brings the question, could he have tried or met someone on social media that he tried to go? And again, I think the biological father said the same thing that the stepfather said, in some of the reports I've seen, that they're very strict with his social media, and he didn't have access to the internet where he could go on there and potentially, meet someone that's trying to lure him into human trafficking. But then again, kids sometimes find a way on their own, if not at home, maybe at school if they had access to something, or from a friend. So some people are wondering, could he have been kidnapped by someone, human trafficking? I mean, listen, everything's on the table, potentially. And, I'm not sure. When is the last time someone actually saw him alive? I mean, obviously, the mother saw him alive. She said that she sent him to bed Sunday night around 9 o'clock. He went in, turned off the light. And what I've understood is the ring cameras from nearby show the light actually going off when he went to bed. I mean, it all matches what the mother said. Beyond that, you've heard that I believe they were shopping at BJ's sometime during Saturday or Sunday, and on Saturday they were at Costco. And I think the mother took a picture of her and Sebastian eating a hot dog or a slice of pizza at Costco or something like that. So that's where they were out and about. So I guess he was seen out on Saturday. Did he have a phone? Yes, he had a cell phone, but he didn't take it with him that night. His father says, though, that he knows how to use the cell phone. He's handy with it, that he's memorized his father's, phone number so he could call him. He was taught if there's ever an emergency to dial 911. He knows all of that. Let's see. Questions about the locked door, which door he went out from. I don't know. We heard that he went out maybe the front door, but there's a back door he could have gone out. Was it locked? Those issues and those facts have not been shared with us by law enforcement. So I don't know where he went out. All I think we know about is that he left barefoot with a flashlight based on information from the mother, who said that his shoes were all there, didn't look like he got dressed or anything, and a flashlight was missing. That's all we know on that front. And again, as I said, if you missed it and you're joining us now, in my interview with the father, he said that Sebastian would not do that. He might step outside for a moment without, shoes on, but he said as a child, Sebastian vividly remembers stepping on a fire anthill, and it lit him up when he was barefoot. And from that day on, he didn't like walking outside in the dirt, and he always wanted to have his shoes and socks on. That always stayed with him. And so his father says there is no way Sebastian on his own is going to get up with thoughts of going a distance and not put on his shoes and socks and just take off in the dark. He just goes, that's not going to happen. Now, could he have been lured out thinking he's just going to step out for a moment and then something happened? Sure. But taking off on his own with a narrative like maybe he wandered off and disappeared barefoot, he just goes, my son wouldn't do that. And as I said, his father, Seth, believes that there's a possibility foul play is involved. He doesn't want to believe it because that creates a even more scary situation for what might have happened to Sebastian. But I'm left too with where I sit, saying that there can be no other explanation except that someone else is involved. Let's see. What is someone saying? No, someone is asking, did Proudfoot, the stepfather, stay in a hotel in Memphis? I don't know where he was staying in Memphis. My understanding, he was in Memphis for a while, and he wasn't home that night, as far as we know. So there's ways to check. I mean, some people say, oh, well, maybe he was there and he drove all the way at night and did something and then drove all the way back. Well, yeah, all right, fair enough. Bring that up. But there's no evidence of that. And I'm just guessing law enforcement has vetted him, and law enforcement has told him at this point, there's no evidence linking the stepfather or mother to his disappearance. So let's be fair. Let's be fair here. Let's see. What else do we have? Let's see. Yeah, people were asking about the prayer vigil last night. His biological father attended. The stepdad and mother did not. May have had other things to do, so I don't judge that in any way. Do you think there are caves or holes around where he lived? I've asked that question, and I understand at one point they had some people up there looking at caverns or some cave or something that might have been there. If there are, I'm not familiar with that area, but there could be. There certainly could be wells or things like this. If there are any in that proximity, I guarantee you they have searched them. Let's see what else we've got. Most of the others, just people thanking us for the coverage, which I appreciate, but don't thank me. I thank you for being part of this and caring. We've had up to 3,000 people. The last Facebook Live I did had 50,000 people. The one before that, 100,000 people saw it. And I appreciate you guys having a passion for finding this child. When children, I cover a lot of horrible stories in the news business, and I don't like to see anyone hurt. whenever it involves a child, it gets to me. And there have been the cases of Summer Wells. I was in a helicopter and flew out there to investigate that. I've covered Joe Clyde Daniels, this case. I'm going to be part of this. And as long as you're interested and want to help, I'll continue doing these Facebook Lives. I wish I had more to tell you tonight, you guys. I really do. I wish I had more. Just to let you know, I will stay on this story. Message me here on Facebook if you have questions. Please share my Facebook page with others, not just for this story, but others. I post about others. A young collegiate student from a fraternity in town with his frat brothers this past weekend in downtown Nashville has vanished. And I posted on there without a trace. And they're very worried about him. Hopefully he turns up. But I post a lot like that. I mean, if you go to my page, you'll see it's kind of a quirky page with a lot on there. But please.
He was about to say, please share. Okay. Did you guys take anything out of this one? Besides him answering questions and my shirt's disappearing. It's because I'm wearing...
He's had a lot of people on his Facebook Lives.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. I just sent you something because I don't know if I remembered to send it earlier.
Did you send me something?
It's not about this case. It's about the Jennifer Soto. But it's an excellent point, and I'm surprised that we haven't thought of it yet. But anyways.
Hold on, let me see if I have or not.
I like that reporter. So I was joking, but I do like the reporter a lot.
Yeah, me too.
But if she left her phone, oh, I see, and pull at her. Ah, that's a good one. Okay.
Isn't that a good point? Why hasn't somebody caught on to that yet?
Okay, I caught on to most things, Charmaine, but I didn't actually catch on to that one.
Me too.
Hey.
Me too. It came out of left field when I seen it. I had to screen grab it. So I was like,
because I see, like I said, we had a guest on tonight. Mm-hmm. And if it was just us, I probably would have included this because I want to show Gaming and Sleuthing sent me a timeline. And I put it on TikTok yesterday, but I wanted to do a live with that timeline and talk about these things because there's so many things that I think that she's going to get charged myself. And it's things just like what you're saying here. So let me just pull this up quickly.
Okay. You're talking about Jennifer Soto, just to be clear, right?
Yes,
that's right.
She's talking about Jennifer Soto.
So changing names without signaling, I apologize.
So for anyone that we've been talking about Sebastian's case, I guess we're now transitioning to Madeline.
We're not transitioning, just for a second.
Just for a second.
Because I want this to be alive in itself. But that's a good question. So for anybody out there and people that are watching right now, I'm pretty sure most of you guys are all following that, Madeline, Jennifer Soto, Stephen Stearns, this case here.
Right.
So Vinny, Frankie says, it's interesting her mom said.
Who's Vinny? Never heard of him.
Okay, it's Charmaine's she stalks his channel now. It's ridiculous. She's just throwing herself out there.
I think he's a new YouTuber.
Yeah, that new YouTuber that created a channel called Vinny Politan from Core TV or something like that. Yeah, so just only because Charmaine said she sent something. Actually, you know what? Let's finish off. No, we'll do this first. Okay. So interesting. Her mom said, hey, they saw her go through her backpack and pull out headphones out. But if she left her phone, what was she listening to? Liars.
Right. I just honestly, I couldn't believe that didn't even occur to me because one of the big parts is it's too much detail. He said she was digging in her backpack for her headphones. For what?
Was it her that said that or him? Because I remember him saying that, but did she say that as well?
I don't know. I can't remember, but that was like a stupid piece of information that was just, why are you adding that in? But
yeah, well, it's not like they have a ton of interviews to go through, really.
Well, right. I mean, and we already know that she's lying because the backpack was found in the garbage of the apartment complex.
Right.
So no one dug through the backpack because it was already in the garbage bin because she was already dead.
Right. And of course, we can't forget, of course, that the mother, was we. Oh, by that I mean he took her to school, so she would easily use the word we. Well,
right.
no,
Let me just console you,
Yeah.
cold-blooded rapist killer. Blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah.
Hey, you
Sorry.
just
He cut out a little bit. You should be good.
I did. I cut out. It was
yeah.
I was
Well,
speaking French for a
I had to request a review for the Ask a Lawyer live, and they did put it green, thankfully.
Well, he did go on quite the tangent there.
Oh, I know, right? I was like,
I was
I was like running back to my iPad.
Yeah.
I was like, no, don't say that. Don't say that. Don't say that.
Yeah. We definitely, we need to teach Travis that it's because when somebody's not a YouTube creator, they don't know. They're just saying.
It's hard.
Yeah. And just like you too. You've had
podcasting where it's like no holds barred. We say whatever we want on the podcast.
Yeah. Teaching these lawyers what they should and shouldn't say, or what they should and shouldn't do, is very difficult.
It's exhausting.
Honestly,
when will they learn?
Whenever it comes to anything to do with whenever it comes to anything to do with especially with children and using words like CP or RAPE and those different things, YouTube is not going to be so nice about that.
Right. Like GULL.
Yeah.
Words you just don't use.
So that's why I will say the word sexuality, not, or sexual assault, something like that. Because again, like I said, we're a small channel. Imagine those bigger channels out there that would have if it's their bread and butter and they have 100,000 views, that's a lot of do re mi to lose because of words that you can change.
Too bad, so sad.
Type of thing. So, both lives were yellow yesterday.
Right. But again, too bad, so sad, because, it's true crime, and you know what? It's just, it's the game we play in. And sadly, it is what it is. YouTube needs to create an entire category for true crime that has its own set of rules. But until they do that, we're just going to have to
try to abide
by the rules that they've set in place. I'm not going to complain about it, because it is what it is.
On there,
I'm like, if you want a video to be monetized, you have to.
You gotta
cross your T's and dot your I's.
Yeah. The word murder is fine to say.
Right.
I've noticed
and then other times it's not.
It really, I think, just depends on how much it's, being said in the context, and, how it says the end of the day, it's AI. It's being scanned.
I was watching a video the other day that was about off-grid living, and they said the C word they said it 5 times. And this was I looked, it was a monetized video because I got ads. So I'm like, and this was 3 years old. So I'm like, okay, well, apparently that C word is okay for some channels to use.
And maybe, sometimes, Adam, sometimes I've literally sworn at YouTube, on a live, and all of a sudden it's green.
Well, they like
green
that.
As day. And I just YouTube. Do you like it when I talk to you like that?
Right. Just like most men, they like that.
Yeah. And then the other times it picks up the live. What?
I don't like this picture.
Hey, it's a boa constrictor.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of
snakes.
Big constricting things.
I get it. You're just getting jealous. Now stop that. Okay. This is a snake. There's quite a few of them in life. And this one is, I'm not a fan of snakes either. You would never catch me putting one of those on my freaking arm. I don't give a shit how much you pay. Well, no, for a fee, for a price, I could be persuaded.
No, thanks.
If I had a personal trainer that
my anaconda don't want none of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now,
second that motion.
I think it was Joan though that made the comment you know that their home is pretty sterile. And I was like, Joan, I'm not sure if, from watching that video tour if that's what you're referring to, because obviously that's a staged home in a sense that's getting ready to be sold, and it's the Lintons that live there prior or something like that. But to me, this is the home right here behind this picture, where Sebastian lives. You can see like there's the table and whatever in there, but anyways, you know, so if anything, no, this is what the home kind of looks like inside just by that picture, which is probably more accurate. The other thing was just a virtual tour,
Right.
when they make it look all.
And then you have the dog, and then you have the dog. Okay, wait. So we know where the front door is.
Yeah.
And now we can see with this picture that the Sebastian's in. You
Yeah.
can see where the dog crates were. So I'm not sure if the dogs were loose when the mom was, you know, on the phone with the stepdad until, or because the front door is directly behind where Sebastian's standing, to the left, where the dog crate is too. So if Sebastian had come down those stairs and left through the front door, those dogs would have barked. Just my opinion.
Correct, but that would mean, okay.
Because some people have their dog crates in the primary bedroom or wherever, so I can see where the dogs might not have been awakened if someone left. But in that picture we just saw, we saw where the dog crates were.
Okay, so let's just watch this quickly, okay?
Right.
Again,
can I ask really quickly?
Yeah.
CJK says, I heard it tonight. The few minutes I left, the creator and mini in chat, a channel that needs permanently removed. I'm not quite sure what you meant, CJK.
Where's that? I heard it tonight. The few minutes I left.
Nope, sorry.
Oh, the few minutes I left, the creator and many in chat, a channel that needs to be permanently removed. Yeah, I'm not sure what you mean either, CJK.
I just wasn't sure what CJK had said. So, but I agree with. Okay, the C word. Okay, because I'm like I always agree with CJK, and I respect everything they usually say.
Is it the see you next Tuesday? Is that the C word?
The
no, Charmaine starts with an S, not a C.
It's a different spelling there, Betty.
You know, that's well, that's just it. Like you're not allowed to swear within the first 8 seconds basically of the video, but you can pretty much swear whatever you want after that, to be honest with you.
Right. And the C word I was referring to is the one that we all endured in 2020.
Yeah.
Oh, that one. I have a problem.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the CUNT one.
No. I was talking about the thing that we got shut down for at one point.
Yeah, right.
And then I watched another channel and they mentioned it like 5 times in one video, and that video was still monetized.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Well, the thing is that
Mark,
it could have been
Mark, you behave, Mark.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go back to this tour thing here. So there's a front door. Okay, so person's camera can see, say, the front door and the side. But anyways, we'll go through this a little bit slowly. So there's a front door. There's a deadbolt. Does this one have a lock on it too? Perhaps it's a push button one. Sometimes it has like 2 locks, right? Okay. There's the table.
Exactly.
Like room area. So this is where I think that picture is of the snake close to, because you can see like a tables. I don't know if they
set
set
the
it
bar.
Up the same way.
It's at the island in the kitchen.
Yeah. Okay.
Catty corner through that room.
There's another door right there. Okay, that you can see. Whatever door that leads to. Okay, there's the back door. You guys just saw that a second ago, right? That's like the back door. That's where Trev was saying that, according to the source with the camera, that they have something against that door. Okay, now, and then what else we got here? We got some sort of bar. Okay, so here, this is what I'm talking about. Right here. It's like there's the front door, and this is the hallway where obviously some bedrooms are. Is down this hallway or something, because as we play it out, okay, so there's the upstairs is right there where that picture frame is. Here's the kitchen, and it takes you to the loft. Okay, so there's the kitchen with some doors. Again, door here, and there's a door right here as well. Door here, door over there, doors everywhere. Okay, and then if you look, oops, it's going to go up in a second. Okay, kitchen. And then next thing you know, we're up here. Now, did I miss that part? Or did I miss it where they kind of, I think it's not here yet. But there's a point there where it kind of captures the downstairs at the same point. So I'll show you it in a second. So unless I'm smelling salts or something like that. Okay, it's hard to tell you guys because I was trying to look out the window to see if I see like the height of the trees. Are you guys seeing anything in that at all? Like that leads you to believe there's this second floor that I'm missing out on? Like I know there's the loft, but do you guys think that this is a second floor or a main floor where the trees, because the tree stems are right here, to go up. Okay. And I can't see chat right now. So if you're saying something, give your opinions as well. Because again, I'm just kind of looking at the tree level. See, so if you look here, guys, this is what I'm talking about. Right here. Right? You see this coffee maker right there from the kit, like that's in the kitchen, that coffee thing. So this is like the kitchen area, and then it goes right to like, that looks like it's down. And because it's almost like you have to go, I don't know, I'm confused really. I don't know. I don't know. What do you guys think? Like, because I mean, this view is obviously looking down, but if you saw the steps, they just kind of went up. Like, do you guys get what I mean by that? Like, this is what, at 108? So if you see the steps right here, they just seem to go up, and there's the coffee maker, right? Like, that's the coffee maker thing that we were staring at 108. So is this just like I said, a 2-level home? And the bedrooms are on the main floor besides that big lofty one? Charmaine, Adam, what do you guys like think? Because like I said, right, there's the coffee maker.
Yeah.
So is this just a 2-level home?
It's a 2-level.
Yeah. And
all the bedrooms on the first floor. The only thing on the second floor
is this.
Yeah, because I looked up I can't remember the address. I looked up a different house in the same neighborhood that had the same floor plan. And their video showed it a little bit differently because the layout was exactly the same. And it showed it a little bit clearer as far as like that there were 3 bedrooms on the first floor. And then the second floor was nothing but an extended loft.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
With that like weird little like storage area off. Like in the picture we're looking at, it would be off behind the right-hand side.
Yeah. Okay. So that would mean that his, let's just say, unless that big ass bedroom was his, which it probably wasn't. So this is like those back doors, and then there's that door that I showed you guys for anyone that was watching from the street called Kelly Lane, which is behind this home.
I will say I love that little back porch. Like if I lived in that house, that's where I would spend like the majority of my day.
Yeah.
I love that little back porch.
Yeah, exactly. So it's one of those things, right? There's this fence here which goes into another yard. There's probably got to be a gate somewhere, perhaps. But where did Sebastian, if he did leave on his own?
See, I don't think that the fencing actually belonged to them, because I don't think there's fencing on the left-hand side or the right-hand side of this house. I think the fencing actually belongs to the back neighbors.
Well, I mean, that's easy enough to look at too.
Yeah, no, I think the fencing belonged to the back neighbors.
And they could very well have been that it was the back neighbors. Let's just go to quickly.
Which would actually make it easier for Sebastian to have left on his own if he wanted to.
Well,
Because if you look,
fencing. Like they got
oh
it
yeah,
too.
yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No. But it's just that it's like they all just, I don't know, maybe pulled together and said, well, you know how it is. It's like you can build your fence.
I mean, that's clearly their fencing. I'm dumb. I'm dumb as fuck.
Well,
So.
I mean,
I'm just gonna go to bed.
It's been a long day. Yeah. You know what? I know. We'll be talking a lot more about Sebastian and keeping bringing awareness to his case, because it's perplexing. Now I'm going to have to go listen to Pascal tonight, you guys. I know that we didn't talk tonight. And Adam, I don't really want to get into any Delphi on this part of the live. Perhaps we can do the live tomorrow, unless there's something quickly you want to mention about Delphi.
No,
you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Well, we can talk about it.
I know that you and Charmaine, you guys, I'm sure that I didn't get to listen to it, but I'm sure that you covered everything from today very extensively and did a great job. If we do a live tomorrow, I expect there to be more stuff coming out tomorrow.
Right.
If, I'm sure that the Anthony Greeno thing will probably hit the docket tomorrow. So it didn't hit today that I know of.
Okay.
Even though people went over it, right?
What?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Anthony Greeno thing. So, that didn't hit but that hasn't hit the docket officially yet.
No, he sent it to me. Yeah.
So he sent it to me earlier today.
Yeah.
And I think I have a lot of other people as well. So I assume that'll hit the docket tomorrow.
He heard himself.
Hey, what's up?
I think Adam just called you out there.
Well, no. So I assume that'll hit the docket tomorrow, and I haven't even read that yet. I'm gonna read it tonight before I go to bed. So I think there'll be plenty to talk about with Delphi tomorrow. I don't have the brain capacity to go into it tonight. I went to work at 9 a.m. this morning, and it's now 1:02 a.m. the next day.
Yeah,
So
I thought I was at work at 6 a.m. today.
Oh, I was at work at 5 a.m., Charmaine.
Yeah. Whatever your time.
Oh, actually, wait, Charmaine, I was at work at 4 a.m. and I walked, and I was barefoot.
Yeah, but it was snowing here, so.
Yeah, Charmaine, it was a heat wave here, and we
I
had daylight, and we had daylight savings time, and we deal with the Fahrenheit system. And
in Canada, we have to. It's a law that we have to wear flip flops from March 1st on. So
whatever.
It should be. Whatever. I can't wait. Next time I come to Canada, I'm gonna tap that maple syrup out of that tree.
Yeah, on there. Yeah, and I think that's about it. And sweet dude Shibby, Fig Solves, by the way, was the one that blocked you or whatever the other day. CD, I believe, unblocked you because I was trying to figure out how. I didn't even know that you guys that moderators could block somebody. But the bottom line is we don't do personal attacks.
Right.
Opinions can be said. And you got to tell Joe Lewis that I might be a dinosaur, but I still feel like I'm a pretty good looking dinosaur for my age. So, that was very comical, by the way. But anyways, so just rest assured, I didn't block you. Fig blocked you. I took away Fig's wrench. I took about a few people's wrenches away. because again, I don't want people to exert power, but I don't also want personal attacks on a person. Like someone can say something, you don't have to agree with the person, but people shouldn't be slinging names like to attack them in chat either. That's just kind of like a no-go thing. But anyway, so just to clear that up for you, okay? He was bragging about trolling. I called him a troll. Yeah, I looked at the comment again afterwards. It wasn't that big of a deal, to be honest with you. But
let's let it go.
Yeah, I was gonna say the wrench was removed. You know, to directly to.
But let's not get it wrong. Fig has been a very good friend to this channel, and Fig is not. There's been no proof that Fig's done anything wrong and that he deserves any of the accusations that he's been given. So just like Richard Allen deserves to be considered innocent, right, until proven guilty. I mean, the least we could do is give Fig Solves that same courtesy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, at the end of the day, we can say our opinions, but that doesn't mean we have to directly attack a person, right? If you think that they're full of crap or whatever, something like that, you know, again, I'm not here to have an animosity between people that have opinions, but then there's a difference between saying something and then attacking a person, because. You know, so I understand why he did it, because I think anyone that had a mod wrench with their name coming out saying he was trolling and stuff like that would probably might have done the same thing. Anyways.
Yeah, and I don't want to go. I don't want to go down that road. But you know, it's also when you're a mod in a channel that has shown pictures of that person's children and wife on their live stream. I understand why you might be a little sensitive about negative comments, because Joe Louise has posted pictures of Fig's wife and his little girls, his children, on his live streams with their identities. And I'm sorry, that's disgusting. So I don't care who you support, that's wrong.
Yeah. All I'm going to say is for this channel, and I don't give a shit who you are. I could be your longest friend in the world. You know, if you start going like ape shit and stuff like that. And I mean, well, look at it. I mean, frick, like there's a couple people recently that I blocked and whatever that I thought were friends, but we're just here to try to help each other and not attack each other. If you don't agree with somebody, who cares? Life goes on, you know, at the end of the day, but we don't need to get into arguments about it all. If you don't like Fig, like Fig. If you don't like Reno, like
you don't like me, don't like me. Don't like Fig, don't like Fig. Don't like Sunny, don't like Sunny.
I just simply do not want
everyone like Charmaine though.
Everyone likes Charmaine. I just do not like drama. Yeah.
Same.
I just don't want to look at the chat and go and think of how much everyone typically acts like grown-ups. I just don't want personal attacks. Just keep it to what we're talking about. If you don't like their opinion, you can say it, but you can say it in a way that's not coming off as aggressively attacking in a sense and stuff like that. That's all I'm saying. So I don't really care who you are.
But you we're not going to put makeup on a pig either. So.
Well, I put makeup on all the time, Adam. Not really. Well, I feel like would I rather be a dinosaur or a pig? Probably a dinosaur, actually, Barney. Anyways, I'm just saying, you know,
pigs still have a purpose.
Yeah.
You can eat them.
We do. We absolutely do, Adam. You're right. Justice for the pigs. Okay. But anyways. So again, just to clear that up, okay? Because whatever. No need to keep talking about that from earlier. I think it was brought up, and like I said.
See, this is what happens. We're like, we're not going to talk about Delphi, and then we talk about Delphi for 10 minutes.
Adam brings up Delphi, of course.
I know. Anyways, appreciate y'all. Like I said, keep it clean.
I blame Greeno. Greeno brought up Delphi.
If it comes into the room, we have to talk Delphi.
blame game now, I see. Anyways, no, it was a good live the other day. Thanks to Travis, Charmaine, Aspen. Thank you for all your input from that earlier live that you weren't on. You and Greeno had sent me his thing, and I believe what Adam had said there was that, well, yes, that you sent it to others as well. It wasn't like, Sonny, this is your story. It was like people were messaging saying, well, I have it. And I was like,
I didn't say that. Someone else.
No, you didn't say that part. But anyways, doesn't matter. It was really just that whole thing was about Travis letting us try to understand if that stuff's even going to be included or not. Or
one thing, really quickly, you guys figured out who the woman was, right?
Which one? Yes.
Okay,
the County Clerk one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Wendy something or another.
Melinda Gibbs.
Melinda. Yeah, Melinda Gibbs.
Melinda Gibbs. Thank you.
Yeah. I'm just making sure because I knew that early, but I was like, I hope they figured it out, and then I think other people did. So.
Yeah. Exactly. The block.
I was at work all day. I apologize, everyone.
Yeah.
Wise.
I think you need to apologize to Travis. All right.
I know where you were.
Anyways, so at the end of the day, again, we saw the names of the creators, we saw this, and really it was just a matter of what's going on, Travis. Right.
And when Greeno's documents come out on an official My Case document, then I will go on a live tomorrow and cover it.
When it
hits the docket, we can
tomorrow,
officially cover it.
It will hit the docket tomorrow. He showed me receipts.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. So I'm just kicking that can down the street so that I can read it tonight before I go to bed. And then when I wake up tomorrow, there'll be 5 new filings, and then we can cover it.
Probably.
Did you read Little Frank's one yet there, Aspen?
I did read Frank's one because it was only a page and a half.
Of course they like me blue eyes, and it's because of me, because I'm always we're trying to make something happen, Biddy and me.
Let's talk
Charmaine's just trying to start shit.
Yeah.
Say, did you read Frank's?
Yeah. No.
I'm Switzerland here. I really don't.
I'm just doing so hard. Like, you guys, it is taking every ounce of effort just to stay classy about him. Okay, it's taken all of me. Do not, please.
I spent the little free time I had today looking at Airbnbs in Delphi.
Yeah.
So did I. Thank you.
Yeah.
I found a beautiful little one 10 miles out. You're all like, no.
Do you know there's a yurt available in Monticello?
What the fuck
is it on a beach? Like, that's where I want to go.
I was like, wait, there are yurts in Monticello?
All I know is that, you guys are going to be the boots on the ground. So figure that stuff out.
For $3,500 for the month. Yeah. Maybe.
If you're picking the big expensive ones, the ones I found.
Yeah.
It was not for a month. Okay, maybe, but.
There was that one campground, and I was like, wait, I'd probably end up joining Odinism or starting meth.
Not if I was there. I wouldn't let you.
I mean, we wouldn't have a bathroom. We would both end up doing it.
I am the stronger person than that. No,
yeah.
You are not.
There's got to be some Delphi.
Depends on the man that's offering it, actually.
Like you have their basement or something like that.
All right, well, here we go. Greeno has an Airbnb for us.
Have access to an Airbnb.
See, now we know where Greeno was on the 12th and 13th of February 2017. He was at the Airbnb.
Yeah.
Is that Airbnb near the bridge? That's not a shack, is it? Because hard pass if it is.
It's not a shack. Yeah, I got an Airbnb. Here, look at the Mears little shack.
His identity is, or his location has finally been located for that weekend. He was at the Airbnb.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so we can continue on with whatever, probably Delphi tomorrow night, eh? And then see.
Yeah.
With my film equipment and bacon for the cookout. Yeah, and the can't say no to bacon.
Well, if you got good bacon for the cookout, you can come. You can come to Fig's aunt's cookout with me and him.
I'll
Yeah,
pass.
okay. Yeah.
But let's keep it on a brighter note, because maybe
Yeah.
Eliza will be found, maybe Sebastian will be found tomorrow, and you won't have to talk about Delphi tomorrow.
Thank you. Or Elijah.
I said Elijah. That was the first one I said.
Well, like I said, I mean, I really want to be talking about Madeline Soto and go over these things as well, because, like I said, the mums are so inconsistent. Now, hold on a second, just before we go.
You are not. You're going to be here every night until then.
We absolutely need you here, Anne. When you're outside,
I value Anne's
imperative.
Imperative work.
I want to see
her outside of the box thinking. Like, she comes up with the best brainstorming ideas. It's crazy.
I think Anne's thinking is well inside the box. I appreciate Anne 100%.
I just don't understand where she gets her. What? Good of you to share Vinny with her. I know, but I do, and I sacrifice my personal time with him for everybody. I get it. I'm an understanding girlfriend, fiance.
Oh, well, just to ask, actually, since Greeno's in the chat, by the way. Greeno, are you going to the trial?
Well, I mean, he'd have to escape back to the forest, cross the border illegally, find his way back to Delphi through the dark of the night. It would be a treacherous journey for him. But he would
I bet you he could
do it all camera in hand.
Are you making it funny?
I think he's trying to. I think he's overtired is what's happening here.
I am overtired.
Yeah.
Is Vinny going to be in Delphi? No.
I'll ask for deportation. No need to ask. Charmaine, are you going to Delphi to stalk Vinny?
They're gonna send Tobe Lesenby up to get Greeno, and Tobe's gonna be like, I've always wanted to go to Canada.
Who wouldn't want to come here?
Maybe we'll go for some moose sightings on the way.
Seriously, is Vinny going to be in Delphi? I doubt it. If he is, count me in.
Vinny's gonna be with Paul Holes.
He's also probably going to have bodyguards telling them, keep that Charmaine chick away from me.
I mean, between Paul Holes, Barbara McDonald, how many seats does Carroll County courtroom have left?
Nobody wants.
Anya and Kevin are going to need their own row.
Oh my God! Don't even. Can we not?
We've got Susan Hendricks. Wait, who else? Nancy Cray. She's going to have a folding table outside the courthouse.
I was going to say she's going to set up her table outside of the courthouse. That's fine.
Mm-hmm. I won't be able to be here much this week. Are you saying that you have a link outside of this channel?
Hey, True Crime Investigates. LOL. I always want. Hey, that mustache has a 5-point rating on Uber Eats.
Wait. Okay. Hold on. So there's 20. Hold on. Oh, so there's 29 from Twitter watching, 43 on It's a Crime and Shame, 0 from Facebook. You're not disappointing me, big 0. No, it's typically Twitter or whatever.
Do you want me to go and watch from Facebook instead?
No, just so I have one person. No, it's okay. It's all good. Anyways, you guys, thank you guys so much for joining us. And again, don't forget to go watch Pascal's show to see what Seth Rogers' dad had when he called in. Hey,
and if we do a Delphi live tomorrow, what time works well for everyone? Like Does 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time work well for everyone? Or
I'm tired of your schedule.
At night? Are you out of your friggin' mind? I'm just kidding. Holy
I was
smokes,
literally just saying what works well for everyone else.
Well, obviously when you're working is when we expect to be on.
Well, I'm saying tomorrow, what time works well for everyone if we were to do a Delphi Live?
I feel like, did Travis get into you today? I feel like
Did you see that yet? He was off the rails. I
don't watch lives I'm not on.
Oh my gosh, you got to go back and watch that. I couldn't believe it. I was like, I couldn't even have my camera on. I was laughing so hard.
I know. She turns her camera off because she's laughing so hard. Because I was like, well, what about these 3 things? And he's like, F that. Basically, nobody wants to see those.
Nobody cares about that.
Anyways, we did go over them.
Were they prosecution motions?
That was basically anything that Sonny actually wanted to cover. He's like, nah.
Thank you, Greta.
Okay, good streams lately. I see growth improvement seeing y'all.
Hey, 69 in chat.
Shut up.
Well, that's what they wanted to see. Anyways, yes. So, we'll discuss it tomorrow. What time? We'll figure it out. When you see a live pop up, it's because you see a live pop up. So we'll just discuss it.
You just have to be prepared to hear a 2.5-year-old yelling or screaming at any point.
Yeah, we're not going to do it early like that.
I think that would be great. It would be good for the channel.
No. Anyways, we'll talk about it.
Basically, like hearing Charmaine talk.
Yes, you'll be out of town. Okay. Okay. Well, you know what? You guys all have a great night. Again, say prayers for all these missing and the murdered people that are out there, guys. You know, Sebastian, Elijah Vu. Some people have already sadly their lives have been taken, and Elijah Vu's not looking good either. Sebastian's not looking good either. Right. Anyways, just say a prayer. If you see something that somebody missing on your Twitter account, just hit share, please. Always helps, right? And other than that, thank you to Trev Time for joining us on the live earlier. Again, his link is in the description of this live, as well as it pops up in the Streamlabs there. So appreciation to Trev for joining us in regards to Sebastian, and thank you, Aspen. And sorry, Aspen, again, that we did that live without you. It was totally a me call on that. I would hate to do it normally, but it was just one of those things is that I couldn't find any other time to really change it to or do it to and stuff like that. Right. You'll forgive me. I just gotta throw you some kisses.
I just gotta figure out which live I want to watch before I go to bed tonight.
I'm gonna go watch Pascal. That's what I'm gonna do. And then other than that, my husband needs to get going to bed though, by the way. So yeah.
I'm pretty sure Aspen and I have been saying that for like an hour, that we need to get going to bed.
Oh, well, let's make it happen and let's make it real.
Charmaine and I are we're gonna FaceTime each other and cuddle up and go to sleep together.
You guys go right ahead.
Just like every other night.
Yeah. Anyways, you guys, appreciate you. Please give this video a like and a share if you don't mind.
And Greeno, I'm gonna read your thing tonight. But I applaud you for putting whatever truth there is to everything on the record, just like I do anyone. Like I haven't seen everything that happened today, but I appreciate that people put things on the record, because if you have nothing to hide, then you have no reason to distract from anything or to hide anything. So put it on the record and make it legal and let it go. So
it's probably the best legal document of them all, for sure.
Right.
It was
honest.
Yeah.
Right.
On there.
And there's accountability when you put it on the record. So that's why I appreciate it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks again, you guys. Honestly, we're gonna leave this time, right? Bye. Bye.
We stand surrounded. We are not alone. Within my reverie, this holy light. Without an armor, we stand and fight. And